Hello, everyone. Welcome to Download Podcast. So tonight we're going to be having our third episode for the Halloween Spooktober episodes. And this one we're going to be discussing our top five horror, mainstream, and indie video games. So before we get into that, of course, we have a round table of people here and one new member to the podcast, and that is Saiyan. Saiyan one. Do you want to give yourself an introduction? If you do YouTube, what you do?
I I used to stream, kind of got a little burnt out from that. And then I do the Sega dudes with Owaz and Master Welsh here and there. I've been collecting video games since like 98 or 97. So that's it's mainly for me it's like RPGs or shmups. But yeah, I might want to get back into stream, but I kind of like the podcasting stuff a little bit more than sitting around and streaming. So
It's always fun to be able to just have a conversation with a group of guys or whoever,
yeah,
you know.
I got to admit, yeah.
But all right, Dan, the comic man.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Dan. I'm the comic man. I do still stream. I stream about 4 times a week usually. Different kinds of games. I enjoy playing every kind of game. At least the first 2 hours. uh, and yeah, I'm also a writer. I have a children's series with my wife that we write together, mostly here in Singapore where I live. Um, and starting to write other things and doing a little bit of translation and things like that. And yeah, that's me.
All right, Great White North.
Oh, it's a great white north over here. I do stream usually on Thursdays, sporadically do stream on other days when I get a chance to do so. Mostly retro, but I do newer games. And my favorite genre is RPGs, but we're also going into my second favorite genre tonight is survival horror games. So looking forward to doing that.
Yeah, so this was one of those things I was trying to come up with some topics for the spooky season. Of course, for those who are watching this in October, we did record this in towards the end of September. But yeah, I mean, horror is big was a big thing in my house. I watched things I shouldn't have been watching because my dad didn't. He was like he didn't care. He was like, look, this stuff isn't real. As long as you're not. It wasn't like nudity. He wasn't. Horror's fine. It's like it's fake. It's not real. It's not. So, and I know he goes, man, you make me sound bad, but it's like there could be other reasons for this stuff. But no, with horror, there's a lot of great games, especially now, with stuff coming out. And man, we got Silent Hill F coming out. We just had the Chronos A New Dawn, which looks like a Dead Space BioShock kind of game. So, but I'd love to hear what y'all guys' top five games are. We'll start from number five. And since Saiyans the new one on the block, buddy, why don't you give your number one?
You
Or
want
no, number five. You're number five.
number
Number five.
five,
Yeah,
number
number
five.
five.
So my fifth overall would have to be Dino Crisis. My fifth. So yeah, it's not bad. Tank controls, Capcom did that those years with Resident Evil and stuff. So uh it it's not bad. I wish there would be a remake to it. I kind of feel like it's just a dead series. Even though there is a game that's coming out that's kind of like Dino Crisis, but Capcom's like not the producer behind it or anything. So it overall it's a it's a solid game, but not good enough to be within like a top three. So I mean that would be from my perspective on that one.
So what about you guys? You played Dino Crisis? Your
I
thoughts?
I played a bit of it. I played a bit of the original Dino Crisis because it's available now on like the PS5 like
Game.
back catalog or whatever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was pretty interesting. It's very feels very much like early Resident Evil, that same kind of mechanics and such, except that instead of fighting zombies, you're fighting uh uh dinosaurs, and they kill you really really fast. I think that's what I came away with. So I have not gone past like the first 2 or so hours on Dino Crisis. But yeah, it seemed enjoyable, and I'd have to spend a bit more time on it to really like properly figure it out. Like I those tank control muscles are
Hmm.
so atrophied. Like it's been a really long time since I played anything with tank controls, and I think there's a lot of frustration with that because we're so used to over the shoulder camera things that now anything else is really really difficult to do.
That's true. I have played Dino Crisis a long time ago, but I picked it up again, like you said, on the PS5 back um, PlayStation catalog and all that. Brought good memories of those days playing as many survival horror games as I could, especially whenever I got into Resident Evil and Silent Hill. Um, I like the protagonist; she's pretty cool, Regina.
Regina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also like the idea that it wasn't static screens like pre-rendered backgrounds in that it
Yeah.
was more 3D-ish, even though you couldn't control it like you could in Silent Hill. Um, the combat was pretty cool. The idea of just fighting dinosaurs in a video game like that. Um, the storyline's a little bonkers, but it's Capcom for you. Um, but it was a fun game. I enjoyed it. Not the best survival horror game out there, but I think it's one of the better dinosaur survival horror games of the 90s, especially.
Yeah, that is true. I looked because um I have one and two.
Nice.
Oh,
And
nice.
what's crazy is this actually came out in 1989. I didn't realize this until I was just looking at it, but the Resident Evil 3 Nemesis demo disc is in here. So I'm kind of wondering if Dino Crisis 1 came out roughly around the same time as Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, and if it did, like maybe Capcom could have improved on the controls because you did have Resident Evil director's cut that came out
Mm.
at around early. I think it was earlier that might have come out, but or around the same time range. But it's kind of weird that they chose the direction that they did with Dino Crisis. I mean, it dinosaurs and we had Turok. Turok was of course like an FPS, but Dino Crisis was more like let's throw like a hot polygonal girl in this or something, and let's try to rival Tomb Raider and
Yeah.
go on with that. But it I mean, overall, it's not a bad game, but it just actually I just looked at this now and I'm like Resident Evil 3. I'm like, this came out way later. I mean, you had
Oh, it
Resident
did.
Evil, yeah. 99 was like what, maybe the end of PlayStation life
Uh,
cycle.
2002, three, I think was the end of the thing because they were still pumping out games. You had greatest hit stuff coming out.
That's
Because
about 3 years out
yeah. Um,
or in.
but Capcom was really trying to really capitalize on the whole survival horror. They really captured magic in a bottle with Resident Evil. Then you got Resident Evil 2, which even proved even more uh split scenarios that actually connected together. And then what they were trying to do with 3 and then Code Veronica, which should have been 3, which was originally planned to be 3, but because it was designed on the Dreamcast. But it was really cool because like even the environments were really nice. Even for being
Or
3D environments, it still looked really good. Going back to it even now still looks really decent because you think of other games that have these open world 3D, they're not as good. The texture maps aren't great. But I remember I love the series. I mean, I love the whole time travel aspect, fighting dinosaurs. It was really cool.
oh, that was cool.
But yeah, so Dan, give you number 5.
My number 5 is an indie game called Lamentum. It's a top-down game where you're sort of exploring this house. It feels a little bit like Resident Evil in the sense that like you have one space and you're trying to like you have to find different keys to open different locks, right? And your progression is sort of locked behind. It's a bit like Metroidvania in this like not in the sense that you get power-ups, but in the sense that you have to like figure out you have to find certain keys before you get open certain locks. But unlike Resident Evil, it's a lot more psychological. Like things get really really weird really really fast. You get weird like you get weird okay, so the main premise is that you're playing a husband whose wife is dying, and you go to this creepy house out in the the woods with this man who says that he can save your wife. And then something happens from the from when you get there to when you actually start playing the game. There's a time jump, and you're not sure what has happened in between. And then when you wake up, you're looking for your wife, you're looking for the man who says he can help your wife, and a bunch of weird shit's going on in the house at the same time, right? So there's a lot of spooky stuff. There's like I think I played the first 2 hours on not on stream. It was a video. It was one of the times when I was away. And I got really badly jump scared at one point. There's a really long corridor. This is part of the psychological stuff because like the house tends to shift. The house tends to change positions because there's weird things going on in your head. And it's a very, very like it's interesting because like this, the visuals of the game are very, very, like 16-bit, 8-bit kind of stuff, right? Like it's really, really this throwback visuals. And because there's throwback visuals, you don't really expect a lot of like proper visual horror because you're like, this isn't, all this is gonna be psychological, but it's gonna come from the story, not from the visuals because they're really twee visuals. But then like they really use that quite well to really kind of spook you out. And I think this game is fairly recent. It's not an older game. It's a fairly recent game. I've got it on the Switch, but I think it's available on most platforms. And yeah, it was a really, really I had to put it down for a while because like that one big jump scare really, really got me, and I had to put it down for a while before getting back to it. I came to horror quite late in life. Actually, let me rephrase that. I came to horror quite early in life, and it freaked me out so badly that I then left it alone for a very long time
Wow.
before coming back to it later in life. So I've really only started playing horror games and watching horror films and things like in the last, I'm going to say 10 years or so. Like it's quite, it's so as a younger person, unlike Vince, I did not have a parent who was like, yeah, this is perfectly okay because it's all, yeah, you can be scared in the moment, but it's all fake. So, like no parent told me that. No adult said, yeah, this is fake. All my adults were like, well, maybe this could happen. And then, that's it. I'm done. I'm out.
And you're pondering it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my number 4. That's my number 5. I highly recommend it if you've never played it. It's an indie game, so it doesn't have a lot of sort of a lot of juice in the terms of you know advertising and things like that. So it's I think not a lot of folks have heard of it. So yeah, I highly recommend it.
Something I will have to check out. So it's psychological horror as well.
Sounds really cool. I mean, I have to check it out. You know what it
Yeah.
reminds me of? That game that you played, the Blue Room, or what was it called? The Blue something, where you're the
Blueprints.
Yeah, that one.
Blueprints. That was Blueprints is more of a puzzle game. I guess it can be creepy, but I wouldn't call that one horror. Yeah, I wouldn't call Blueprints horror, but it can be a bit creepy here and there.
Mm-hmm.
It looked pretty cool from the photos I was looking at. It looks interesting. A lot of like gorish stuff. So yeah, it looks definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Great White North.
Well, my number 5. Well, this is a bit of a tough one because I kind of have an idea of what I would say about the last 3. But I would say it's a newer game that came out a couple of years ago. It has a sequel coming out soon. It's Tormented Souls. It is a kind of a callback to the older style Resident Evil, some Silent Hill stuff in there as well. Play this girl that gets stuck in a hospital, sanitarium kind of place, trying to find out what's going on with this mail that you got, and you're fighting weird creatures and just trying to get out of there. And then you find out more about your sister and the creepiness and the what's the word I'm looking for? Of the shadows. Like you can't even be in the dark. Like you can't do anything. You can die in the dark. It's such a creepy game. I thoroughly enjoyed the music, the atmosphere. It was a nice callback to those older survival horror games that I've, got into, and I'm looking forward to part 2, which is coming out this year. And I like the old style of the weapons you can use in that game. Like you start with a nail gun, and then you get this wand pump action shotgun that you have to craft together. The story is really creepy as well. And yeah, I'd say if you haven't tried the game yet, I would highly recommend it. Just don't stream the first few minutes on camera because of certain thing. Yes, it's a highly recommended game. I'm glad they made a sequel. I can't wait to see where this story goes further.
Man, I played that game just to like echo what you said. I played it, and about 20 minutes in, I said this reminds me of like 13 Ghosts and if House on Haunted Hill and 13 Ghosts had a baby.
Yeah, yeah.
This would be like the game with steampunk elements, and I was like hooked on that game. It was such a good game, like Tormented Souls. I even like went online and tried to look for mods that I could do on the computer to like either make it, scarier or like other like weird things that you could do with the mods. But yeah, that was a really good game.
Yeah, what I liked about it also, the puzzles. That's what I was going to say. It's so puzzle heavy too. Like
Mhm.
there's a lot of action, a lot of puzzles, like really strong puzzles like you remember from Resident Evil and Silent Hill. But I think they got a little carried away near the end of the game, mind you. There's just a couple puzzles it took me like a good hour just to figure out, which is good because I'm usually good at those. But yeah, if you haven't played it, try it. But it sounds like you enjoyed it too, Saiyan. So I'm glad to
It
hear
was a
that.
really good game.
Yeah, I haven't played it. I need to. It's on the list of things I need to pick up, but
Yeah, same here.
well, so for
What are you
me,
waiting for?
oh yeah, go on. Oh yeah, what? Let me go get it on. Let me go get it on eBay or something or Amazon. Uh, um, so my number 5 would be Eternal Darkness on the GameCube.
Ooh, good choice.
Nice.
Great game. You play a girl that inherits like I think a house. It's been a while since I played the story, so I remember certain elements from it. So, but it was really cool because like every room, and depending on like I think depending on what you did and certain things you would do, the game would mess with you. So it would react to what you were doing in the game. So like you may go into a room and you're on the ceiling, or the lights are turned really low and there's things like trying to get you. But it was really cool because it dealt with like Cthulhu, the old gods, even though they were made up in this. And you had 3 different ones that you'd pick one that you would go to defeat. And then if you played it again, to get the true ending, you needed to defeat all 3 of them and play it one last time to get the true ending. Because all the endings were locked, or at least you'd get a bad ending basically most of the time until you actually cleared out all the gods that you were trying to stop, and there was 3 of them. But it was really fun. I enjoyed it. It was a really cool horror game on the Nintendo system when we hadn't really been getting like really good games like that. But yeah, that's my number 5.
I think the thing I remember most about Eternal, there's 2 of them. There's the one where you walk into the room and you see yourself in the tub.
Yes.
Yes, where you're like that, and then there's I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Eternal's Darkness is also the one where it makes you think your game is crashed.
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So that's
Oh,
like
wow.
that where the horror reaches out into like the real world because you're like, oh no, my game.
Very Hideo Kojima
Yes,
like
yes.
Yeah.
elements.
Oh,
One of the things that was cool was like you would go through different periods of time
Yeah.
because and depending on what you were doing, there would be different story beats. So when you played through it, you may not get the same story again. There may be hints here and there, but it changes completely almost. So it was really cool. It kind of
I think
like harkened you to continue to play it. It did that whole replay value on it.
and I
Increased the
like that
replay.
also like it had multiple protagonists because like you played as the woman in the house, but then when you found certain things and you went back in time, like you mentioned, it
Hmm.
was a different protagonist in different
Yeah,
time periods, and they were all working towards the same goal, but yeah, all different protagonists. So yeah, it was pretty. I like that game a lot. Yeah,
like a Roman soldier. I think you were like
yeah.
a someone
There's a
World War II or World War One.
yeah,
Yeah,
and then you also had the explorer guy in like a temple, like so it became a bit like
Indiana
Tomb
Jones.
Raider, Indiana Jones. Yeah,
Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah, that's what I liked about it with the whole different protagonists, and you didn't know which ones can actually survive or not because the way the
Mm.
game works. And the dialect does change every time you play, especially if you pick a different god that you're following. You get this different type of powers. The sanity bar is what you were.
Yeah, the sanity bar. That's what it was.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
that's what it was. Yeah.
So the
I never
sanity
played
bar
this
was
one.
amazing. Yeah, like you said, the whole game crashing thing. Oh my god, did I ever jump trying to get to my system that day? And lowering the volume. I'm like, what's going on with my system? Like, no, it's such a fantastic storyline for like you said, a Nintendo game. The GameCube. It was such a. I wish we ended up with a sequel. I know they were trying, but
Yeah, it didn't happen,
yeah.
but yeah.
Um, yeah, I play that every so often. It's so good.
Yeah, saying if you haven't played it, man, you need to check it
Mm-mm.
out. It's worth it. It's definitely worth it.
Oh yes,
I
Unfortunately,
gotta
it's
take a look at it.
unfortunately it's one of the ones that's like a little bit more expensive. I mean, like you can get a,
Well,
I think,
hopefully it'll make it to the Nintendo Switch
Switch
Online
Online.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
that would be
that
cool
would
if it
be
did.
good.
yeah,
yeah.
that's a whole other topic for for another episode.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah, we'll
man,
get there eventually.
yeah. Oh, the bashing on Nintendo, even though we love you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, saying so. You number 4?
My number 4 would have to be Haunting Grounds for PS2.
Nice.
So it's I like the dog aspect of it, the whole settings of the game. I picked it up unintentionally because it was, I think it was Hollywood Video or something going out of sale, and I'm like, oh, this looks cool. It's a girl with like a husky, and I like huskies, and I'm gonna go get this. And I popped it in, not even realizing it was like a horror ass type of game, and I played through it. But back then it was Kingdom Hearts had more of my attention than really, that game did. So I went and I started playing Kingdom Hearts. But getting back, it's not a bad game. Like if you compare it to, like, let's say Ruler Rose is like weird, like just very weird. I didn't like it that much, and I guess really I gravitated more towards Haunting Grounds. I just happen to like it a lot. I like what she does with the dog. You're running around. It's like very eerie. It's overall, to me, it's a good game. Like, to put in number 4.
Yeah, it definitely has a lot of stalkers in that type of game.
Yeah.
Kind of like what Clock Tower 3 did. I think this was their next step. Like one or the other. It was like they did Clock Tower 3, and they're like, this makes more sense for Haunted Ground. I only recently played that game, like something like last year, and I didn't finish it yet. I want to finish it, but I like the idea of what you're saying about the dog, and what you do with the dog too affects the dog. So like if you're
Hmm.
petting it or if you scold it and things like that, scold the dog. Very eerie game, but I want to finish it. Glad that you kind of picked that one. That's a good choice. Very good
I
choice.
love the box art for that. I really, really do love the box
Yeah.
art for it too, in the manual. I mean, I have it sitting on the shelf over here. I'm not going to drag the mic all the way over there to go get it, but I mean, it's it it. I've kept it for many, many, many years because, I mean, Hollywood Video closed long some
Yeah.
time ago, and
Yeah.
it's a very normally when you play horror games, you have the person in the, I think it's the protagonist, and they're running around and they're like, oh, I'm scared and this. And you never, even in Resident Evil, you never had a animal element in a horror game, and that's really what stood out the most to me, was that she had a dog, and you, like you said, you have to pet the dog, or either scold the dog, and the dog would like follow you around and stuff. And I never really saw that in horror games, like where you have, it's you and the animal, and it's always just you. So that was really something that stood out to me in that game. That's why I put it as like number 4. It's also creepy too, very creepy, but
Yeah, I think they did a better job with the dog in that one compared to Rule of Rose. Although the story of Rule of Rose is, oh my god. But
yeah.
yeah,
It's a-
to put a fine point on that.
That game's out there.
I've not played Haunting Ground. So like, does the dog like protect you? Does it fight for you?
The dog fights.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it depends on what you do too. Like if you're going to scold the dog many times, it's not going to do as much for you. It's very aware. I did like that concept, is that you want to take care of the dog properly,
Right.
so that the dog can do extra things, go over to the other side to get something for you or whatever. I don't remember all of it, but yeah, very, very cool for a PS2 game, especially.
It was a really good game.
I've never played that or Rule of Rose, and the reason why was because Final Fantasy XI came out in 2002, and I played that for 10 years, and I met my wife through that game. So I can't say I played it, but I want to play those. I want to play them. I know that Rule of Rose is really expensive, and I think Haunting Grounds is getting up there too.
Rule of Rose is very big psychological horror,
and
you need to have a clear head when you play it, because it's weird.
It's weird. It's dark, and it will mess you up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Children are not nice in that game.
No.
But yeah, Haunting Grounds is it. I would say play Haunting Grounds first. It's a great game, especially with the dog.
Definitely do that. Add that to the list. All right, Madan.
All right, my number 4 is probably a game that you've all played, and it's a little bit out of left field, but not really when you think about it. And that is Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask. So this is obviously by far the creepiest, scariest Zelda game out there. And it is a Zelda game, so it's not too well. Actually, let me walk that back, because actually you wouldn't expect it to be as scary as it is. If you play other Zelda games, if you've only ever heard of Zelda and never played any of the games, you wouldn't think there would be a horror Zelda. But this is 100% a horror Zelda. All right, like even sort of not even taking into account Ikana Canyon, which is like just it's a section of the game that has all the undead, it has all the zombies, it has all the mummies, it has all the horrible things. Like not even taking that into account, although that is a very scary area. Is like so it the main mechanic of Majora's Mask is that you put on different masks to turn into different versions of Link, to be able to do different things, right? But every time he puts on the mask, Link screams. Like there's body horror going on here. His body is being it's being reshaped into a different form, and it hurts every single time. To the point that when I was playing it, I would skip the animation. I streamed it on the Nintendo Switch Online, that version of it. I do have the original as I showed, but like I played the NSO version, and I would skip it allows me to skip the animation when you're putting on the mask. I was like, yeah, I'm done listening to Link scream every single time. Like I feel bad that every time I have to do a puzzle here, I'm hurting Link. So I had to yeah. And like, the moon is coming down. That moon has the creepiest face. The happy salesman is not very happy. He's also super creepy. There are corpses of things lying around. I was looking at a list real quick of like the top like 10 creepiest moments, and I'd forgotten that like early in the game you find like this corpse of a Deku that's just sort of hanging out, and you're like, what's that about, right? So it's just like, and then there's like there's that whole creepypasta of the guy, the supposed kid who got trapped in the haunted version of the Majora's Mask game, right? Like it's yeah. So like this is a very, very creepy game, and like especially as a kid when you've been playing a bunch of other Zeldas, and suddenly you get to Majora's Mask and you're like, oh yeah, another fun Zelda where I get to solve puzzles and save the princess and blah blah blah. And obviously Zelda, you're not saving Zelda in this one. What you're doing is actually saving the whole world, because when you fail, the moon comes crashing down and obliterates everything, and that's also not great.
No.
So yeah, this is a very, very creepy Zelda. I played this once as a kid, and then left it alone for a very long time, and only recently replayed it. And I'd forgotten how full of horror this game is. And like I said, I didn't even talk about Ikana Canyon yet. Like Ikana Canyon has the what are they, the Gibbos, I think they're called, GIBBOs, I think. And they're basically, and then the Redeads, and they're all basically like zombies and mummies. and things like this, right? And like the Re-Deads, especially, like they scream at you, and Link is frozen, and then they come ambling at you and try to bite you, and it's horrible. And then there's a guy there in a kind of canyon who's like halfway between like human and Gibbo or Jibbo. Like he's turning into one of them, and that's also horrible because like this kid is trying to get you to help him stop turning into like it's awful. All of this is very very and like when you play this as a kid, you're like, oh my god, what is happening? This is supposed to be a fun Zelda with puzzles and brightness and blah blah blah, and this is horrible. But it's a really good game. Like it's a really really good game. And it's a really effective. I think a lot of it is very effective horror because you're just not expecting it. You don't expect it in this game. It's not. No one builds this as a like. It's never been advertised as a horror game.
No.
No, ever. It's Nintendo wouldn't do that, and it's just. But it is. It 100% is a horror game, and maybe a lot of it is just existential dread. But I think there's a lot of like proper, like horrific things in this game that Nintendo just went, oh, this is a kid's game? All right. Corpses, body horror, horrible moon. Put it all in there. Yeah.
I mean,
So yeah, that's my number 4.
Limbo. I mean, your Link's stuck in limbo. Like he gets lost in the woods, like to get there. The
Yeah.
Skull Kid, and then even when you become Deity Link, it's like that's scary
Yeah.
looking.
Yeah.
So that I get it. I never thought of it that way. But even if you
I
play the 3DS version, they did some quality of life improvements and stuff, and plus you had the 3D pop, which was
I do have
really
I have the
cool.
3DS version as well, but I haven't played it yet. I played the original N64 cart, and then I played now the NSO emulated version. But I've not done the 3DS one, even though I do have it. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But yeah,
I can
man,
totally
that's
see that
Yeah.
because
I
it's
never
like
thought of it that way, but yeah, makes sense.
it's interesting. It's like, but the big thing too is, you know, the stress of the moon hitting the earth, and you have to do this in a time period,
yeah.
and that could be like psychological horror in itself, because in the back of your mind you're like, oh my god, am I wasting too much time doing this, am I doing that? And you throw time management into that. I think time
Yeah.
management's the scariest thing in video games. It's just like, oh my god, like what am
Yeah.
I completely agree with you. When Link, I actually, when you said that, it clicked in my head because I remember him putting on the mask and it was like zooming in with the background. He's like,
Yeah.
ah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's crazy. I never would have thought of that, but that's very good points.
Yep.
It's a
Wow.
very very creepy game. Yeah. Yeah. I messed up on the time management like when I was streaming it because it was the first dungeon, and I beat the boss, and then you had to go and like grab the princess and take her back to the back to the king, the Deku King. And I ran out of time. I was talking to the princess and I ran out of time, and the moon came down, and then you have to go do it all over again because that's how this game works. So I was like, damn it.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of puzzles that are set up to be like, you can only do this for this period of time. You need to let the moon fall. Then you can continue on with the quest. And it's like, but I don't want to have to do all this over again. And
Yeah.
like, I don't want to have to
Yeah.
lose my money,
it's
even if you
true.
didn't get it to the bank.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which
Oh
I didn't.
yeah, yeah. That's right. The money management as well, because if you don't get back there in time, you lose whatever you've got. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Oh man, that's yeah. It's very the horror in this game. There's so much of it.
Definitely an interesting concept for a Zelda game, for sure.
Mhm.
And I've never finished it. It's one of the few Zelda games I haven't finished, so maybe I should.
It's nice
Now
having
that
a
That la-
different perspective on the game,
Mhm.
for
the
sure.
last bit where you're right before you fight the final boss is also pretty weird because there's a bunch of ghosts, for lack of a better term, that you have to interact with in this weird space, liminal space where there's just a tree. Like, and then it's like, yeah, there's a lot of really like I don't know what the Nintendo guys were on when they came up with this game, but I want some. Maybe I don't want some. I
I
don't know.
watched some.
Maybe, maybe not.
That'd
Yeah.
be an interesting trip.
Yeah.
All right. Jason?
Well, okay, so many to choose from. So we're just gonna go with like, people are gonna know this one for sure. But and it's not in exact order for me because I tend to switch it around here and there because of my mood. But I will say Parasite Eve. will be number 4 at the very least for
Mm.
tonight. Very unique survival horror game, especially since they threw in the RPG elements so that you can gain levels and build up your character and stats and things like that. But at the same time, the storyline is so horrific that you're trying to save the entire city of New York from the mitochondria Eve that's essentially can change people's, I guess, for the lack of a better term, DNA or whatever you want to call it, into monsters and things like that. I had a blast playing that every time I do, except for the last time I played because I had to redo it. My save crash. But anyway, that's a whole different story. The story of Aya Brea is really cool too. I like the idea that it's kind of a semi sequel to the book because this is in New York versus Japan. And she's so connected to Eve in various ways, and she has her own set of powers, and she's trying to figure out herself throughout the entire thing. She's just not a cop, but more to it than that. Such a creepy game for the story, the characters, the music, and Square's first foray in survival horror. What an interesting knockout of the park kind of thing. Highly recommend if nobody's ever played it, but I'm sure almost everybody has here. I mean, it's Parasite Eve. Let's go. But even its sequel is pretty good too. But highly recommend Parasite Eve. I would play that over and over again. It's so good. I would love to see a remaster.
Yeah.
I have a funny story about Parasite Eve, where I tried. I have a the last time the PS3, had the PS3 store, and you could buy PS1 and digital versions of PS1 and PS2 games.
Mhm.
So I picked up Parasite Eve on the digital store before the store closed down, like right before the store closed down. I went on a little spending spree and bought a couple of games that I thought would be too difficult to get physical or too expensive to get physical, right? So Parasite Eve and Parasite Eve 2 were one of them, or two of them. And I tried to play Parasite Eve 1, and I only got about a half hour in, and I think it's maybe the first save point or something. So I went to try and save, and it bricked my PS3. So like I don't know why. That's what I was playing at the time. That's what happened. And maybe it had nothing to do with Parasite Eve. Maybe it is just the PS3 was too old and it was going to brick itself regardless of what was going on. But like that's what I was playing. I was doing a recording. I was recording the gameplay, and it bricked the PS3 half an hour in, and that's why Parasite Eve is the scariest game I've ever played.
Oh wow!
Man.
Was it backwards compatible PS3?
No, it wasn't a backwards compatible one.
Okay.
Yeah. No. It was one of the older models. It was the one where you can slide the thing.
Yeah,
as
Model
opposed
3.
to-
Mm,
yeah,
okay,
the Model
yeah,
3
yeah.
Slim.
So
Okay.
yeah, it was a much older model. I sent it to get it fixed, and they were able to fix it. But I have not played Parasite Eve since because I'm afraid.
Oh man.
I could see
I don't
that.
blame you, but
Yeah,
if somehow you get to doing it, and hopefully it doesn't break,
yeah.
I think you'll have a good experience. It's one of the wildest survival horror stories, especially I believe it came out in 1998, 99 or something like that. Um, when you coming across like games like Survive, Resident Evil and Dino Crisis, and even Silent Hill for that matter, um, Parasite Eve just is such an interesting idea. So that's why I love it.
Parasite
But
Eve's interesting, especially with the hospital scene explanation. That is the one thing that stuck with me in that entire game. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
They're like, oh, don't you go to that bank? And
Yeah,
you
yeah.
gotta, yeah.
yeah,
And I'm like,
Yeah.
what the? I remember, yeah, it's one of the more notable things in the game and stuff. But, um, yeah, it's a really good game, a very good game.
no, and every time you start to like, okay, I'm thinking I know I understand what's happening. No, they throw another curveball at
Yeah.
you, and you're like, what? Especially at the end, the holy crap, the final boss. Well, there's two
Yeah.
final bosses, but the main one that you
The
normally
main
would
one.
see,
Yes. The one that follows you
My
through the
mouth.
aircraft carrier.
Yep. My mouth dropped the first time I played it. I'm like, what am I fighting now? What is that? But yeah.
Carbuncle or what was it?
Yeah, right.
Um, I will say that if we didn't have Final Fantasy VIII, if we didn't have Parasite Eve, because it was a technology with having the polygons, with having standard looking characters, because it came out before Final Fantasy VIII. This was the test bed for that. But
Mhm.
it was a really good game. The body horror and the grotesque transformations are top notch. Um, the nightmares and horrors that Aya goes through, and the fact that like when New York gets cleared out, I won't give too much spoilers, but there's a lot of good stuff in that game.
Yeah.
And what I want Square to take the Final Fantasy VII engine, the new one, the remake engine, and remake Parasite Eve with it. But
I'm with you.
I
With you
won't
on
say.
that.
I will keep saying that to my dying day. I want to see New York in that style with her, with the action oriented, and maybe having Ben be a playable character.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. But um, no. So I will have to say for my number 4 was an indie title that came out originally on the Xbox, and that is Limbo, about a little
Yeah.
boy trying to figure out what's going on with no narrative other than what you kind of piece together as you go through this game. It is amazing art style, just white and black and different gray tones as you're traversing this eerie, creepy place. Like there's one moment that you're going through and you're just seeing like this creature in the background, and it turns out to be a giant spider, and it's following you. You have to just get out of the death traps. There's these maggot parasites that get on your head and control you and make you go and do things that you don't want to do, and you have to time your stuff. It's very puzzle heavy. Um, and for what I understand, with the sequel, which was Inside, it's actually connected, apparently. So, but it's really good. It has some Easter eggs that you can find that open up an additional like information, like an ending. It's very fun. It's if you know what you're doing, you can finish the game really quickly. Like you could finish it in like 45 minutes. But if when you're playing it for the first time and learning the puzzles and doing all these different things, making the right jumps, um, like there's one point when you're in a city and you're trying to jump from like these neon lights that are turning on and off, and you don't want to electrocute yourself as you jump on them. It's so good. It is one of my favorites. So it definitely should be up higher on my list, but there's other games that are just that are I want to talk about that are better. But Limbo is an amazing game. If you can get it, it's on modern consoles, it's on Steam, but definitely worth getting.
Yeah, I played it on PS4, PS5. It's a very yeah, it's a very good game. I agree.
Never played it. I've heard of it. Now I'm intrigued. So
Yeah.
I will have to look into that one.
I never touched Limbo. I just looked it up now. It looks pretty cool. The
Yeah.
art
Mhm.
style is very interesting.
Yeah, the art is very good. It's like a very shadowy thing. Your character is just sort of this black shadow going
Mhm.
through a very shadowy world. Yeah, it's the art style is very, very good. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very. I mean, in the time we had like Braid, and then this came out. This game was
Mm.
so much more than Braid. Braid was great, but this was something special, and it's definitely worth it. But yeah, it's basically you're a silhouette of this kid.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
silhouette. Yeah, it's a better
yeah,
word.
I'm looking that one up now.
yeah, it's worth it. It's worth it.
Looks awesome.
Hey, Jason, I definitely recommend that you play that on for a Halloween game.
Yeah.
Just
I'll definitely have to look into it then.
And
yeah.
it doesn't, yeah, as Vince mentioned, it's not a very long game. It would take you maybe 2 sessions to kind of
Mhm.
get through
Oh,
it.
wow.
Two-hour sessions.
Yeah.
Maybe one session if you play for very long. But yeah, it's a good time. Yeah.
All right, Saiyan, number 3.
I don't think this should be a surprise to anyone, but my number 3 is Fatal Frame on PS2. man, and I said it, I got goosebumps. Man, did that game scare the crap out of me. Oh Lord. I was not ready for that game at all. And I remember I was like, all right, I don't know too much about this Japanese rope stuff, and I'll keep that extremely PG for this. But um I I like the opening. I thought it was very interesting. And I said, okay, let me give this a try because I was on, the same kick as Resident Evil, Cold Fear, um, those Haunting Grounds, those type of games. So I picked up Fatal Frame, and I was like, all right, this is going to be cool. I ran around, I think, for maybe about an hour trying to figure out like little things here and there, but the controller vibrated and you had the camera and you had to aim it and those ghosts would disappear and then reappear in front of you, and between trying to position the camera, trying not to get hit, finding the ghost and the controller shaking and worrying about your health, that was just like a cornucopia of anxiety within itself just for that game alone. And that game that game like we've had jump scares in games. We have jump scares, Resident Evil running down the hole and the dogs come out or whatever. That game, like I put that game down after the whole ghost thing with the camera, and I didn't pick it up for maybe about 6 months when it was like around Christmas time, and I'm like, everyone's cheery around Christmas time. It's the season to celebrate. I'm going to play this game because everyone's all happy around me, and I don't know if it made it better or not, but it that game was very, very scary. That's why it's my top three. I thought the story was excellent. I thought it was very good. Very interesting again with the camera and capturing them on the film. We'll go into the book. I could see Phasmophobia taking, some sort of stream, some sort of ideas from Fatal Frame, but it overall very, very good game. Just makes you very nervous when you play it. That's for sure. That's definitely my top three.
I first tried to play Fatal Frame about 20, or I can't remember which Fatal Frame it was. It was a Fatal, because I know there's more. I know there's more than one, and it was like 20 years ago when I first tried to play it, and I noped out of it very quickly.
Yeah.
I was like, no, this is no, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I concur with Saiyan on that game. It's such a good game. The I remember the brother's name for you, but I'm trying to remember the girl's name now. The protagonist, anyway. Um, Coming off of playing like Silent Hill 2 and things like that at the time, and then there's a new horror game. You use a camera as a weapon. I'm like, I gotta try this out. Yeah, it's very anxiety, stress inducing game, especially if you hear something eerie, like is there a ghost around and you're trying to find it. And those hidden ghosts, you just go there and capture them, but if you miss them, you lose points. But I like the concept of your weapon as a camera. That is your line of defense, and it's called the camera obscura. And story's good. It was creepy. One of the more scarier games that I have to agree. It actually gave me goosebumps here and there, and that's not an easy thing for me when it comes to scary games. And I love playing scary games. I try to find the ones that can actually scare me. That one came close. It had some good moments. Highly recommend the Fatal Frame series. Period. Yeah.
Now that I'm more into horror games, I think it's something that I do have to go back and try again. Because I think I was 20 years ago, I was still too chicken. I'd built up my horror muscles. So yeah, I think I have to try it again. Yeah.
I
Play
think you
with
would
the lights
enjoy them.
on.
Yeah, there you
Just
go.
play with the lights on.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
creepy dolls in that game too. Jeez. Anyway,
I'm looking forward to the new one that's coming out. I think it's the remake of the second one.
Mm-hmm.
yes, Fail Frame
Yeah.
2.
Because I only played a little bit of the first one. I did, guys. I never rented it. I had a friend who had it, and I just played it for a little bit until I had to give it back to him. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that whole. It's a different take on horror, for sure.
Yeah, definitely more, I guess, Japanese
Mm-hmm.
oriented with
Definitely.
their
Ringu.
superstition stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of thing. Their lore.
All right, Dan.
All right. Well, speaking of anxiety-inducing, my number 3 is Alien Isolation.
Oh, here we go.
That I think I've not been as stressed out in any game. Scared. Maybe I've been more scared in other games, but I think this is the most stressed out I've been while playing a game was Alien Isolation. Felicia and I played it together on stream. And by played it together, I mean she sat next to me while I played it. And yeah, it's very like, beyond the xenomorph itself, which is quite scary, and the technology behind the xenomorph and how it hunts and how it works is it's amazing. It's like the way that they figured that out. The way that they did it was that basically the xenomorph has two brains. One brain always knows where you are, and the other brain is always hunting you. And the brain that always knows where you are is slowly drip feeding information to the brain that is hunting you. Right. So if you stay in place for too long, it will get you. Right. That's how it works. There's an unseen timer, right? Like we talked about time management before. There's an unseen timer here that if you wait too long, it will get you. And of course, if you run right in front of it, it's obviously the brain that's hunting you is immediately going to know where you are. But that's like kind of sort of like a quick layman's way of explaining how the technology behind how the xenomorph hunts you works. And it's really well done. There's a lot of places. The place that I hated the most was the medical wing, because it's like this weird horseshoe shaped thing. You have to go back and forth multiple times, and the xenomorph is there basically all the time, and it's horrible. And you hear it, scrambling around in the vents and the ducts. You sometimes you see its saliva dripping down from the vents above, and then so that's already horrible enough. And then there's the working Joes, who are these synths that are sort of hanging out on the I forgot the name of the space station, but they're hanging out in the space station.
Can't remember.
Yeah, I suddenly forgot the name of the space station because it all takes place in a space station, and you play as Ripley's daughter, Ripley from the first four films, her daughter looking for information on her mother. And if I'm not mistaken, Alien Isolation takes place between Alien and Aliens, so
Yeah.
so
Correct.
Ellen Ripley is in space in cryo between the two films. She hasn't been found yet, right? So Amanda Ripley is looking for information on her mother. And they find the black box of the Nostromo, and that's why she goes to the space station to get information off that black box. But unfortunately, the ship that brought the black box, the Nostromo's black box, also brought a xenomorph, and so now the xenomorph is running around killing things. But the working Joe, sorry, I got a little bit sidetracked. The working Joes are horrible because they are just robots, right? They're just synths, and they're just following their directives. And unfortunately, they're very very like one way of looking at the directive. You can't be back here, ergo you must now be killed. Like you can't. There's no explaining yourself to the working Joes. They don't care. They have directives, right? And they're also really horrible. When you beat them, they bleed the milky white substance that all the alien universe synths bleed, and it's horrible. It's horrible, and you're just the entire time you're super stressed out. And then you get to this ending piece because you've been fighting the xenomorph this whole time, or not fighting, basically hiding and running from the xenomorph this whole time. And then you feel really powerful because you get at one point you get the flamethrower, and you're like, now I can just I can shoot the xenomorph with the flamethrower, and it'll run away. Unfortunately, if you do it too much, the xenomorph stops caring, and it'll eat you anyway. So you can't use the flamethrower too often. You still have to hide. You still have to sneak around, and only use it as like if it's literally coming right at you, then you use the flamethrower. Otherwise, keep sneaking, because if you use it too much, it's not going to care anymore. It'll just sort of immunize itself from the flamethrower. It won't be scared anymore, and it'll just come after you still. And it's a very very stressful game, very anxiety inducing. I'm lucky that I had Felicia next to me. I don't know that I would have gotten through it if she weren't there. I think I may have noped out after a while because it's just like you just feel very like it's like if have you ever seen Uncut Gems, the film?
Mm-mm.
So you should watch it. It's very good. It's an Adam Sandler movie, but it's one of his serious roles as his dramatic roles as opposed to the comedy. And it's basically just a man who's making horrible decision after horrible decision throughout this whole film, and it's the entire film just keeps ratcheting up the tension because at some point this shoe will have to drop because he's just making bad decision after bad decision, and it keeps compounding, and it's a really really good movie, but I will never watch it again, right? And that's how I feel about this game. It's a very good game. I will never play it again, as I don't want to feel that tension again. I was so happy when it was over because I could literally finally relax. This tension that you kept in your shoulders that you didn't realize was there when you finally finish this game, it finally goes away, and you're like, oh, that's why my back and my shoulders were hurting so much. Is because I was just tense this whole time, and I didn't realize how tense I was. So yeah, I recommend it, but I recommend it only the one time, then never play it again.
Well, the DLC was really good because you had the Nostromo when you had the
Yes.
crew of that, and that was awesome.
Yeah.
I'm a crazy one. I played it multiple times.
Oh, wow.
Because my friends like platinums on their PlayStation, whatever you want to call it, the PSN,
The
whatever.
achievements, yeah.
And I'm the guy that usually gets to do that because they can't handle horror games. So I end up doing that for them. And then I'm like, you know what? I still have to do it for me, and technically I still haven't because you have to die like 100 times, and that gets annoying at times. But I decided to do the one trophy where you have to beat it on a hard difficulty. Me, no, I got to go higher than that because I want to be that guy that can beat this game on the hardest difficulty, nightmare mode. That was the most stressful, anxiety inducing, scariest game I've ever played because of that difficulty. Because you barely get anything, you just get enough by the end to get through that game.
Wow.
That was
I
an
can't-
experience.
Wow.
I can't imagine doing it on the like I did on normal mode. I can't imagine going higher than
Yeah.
that. I was already like, this is
The later
this
chapters,
is-
you're like, I got to get through this. I can't do this anymore. I got to get through this.
Oh,
I was
I
at
didn't
that
even-
point.
yeah. I was gonna say I didn't even talk about the voice mode. So like we didn't play with the voice mode because we were streaming, right? So we need to talk to the camera and stuff. But like there's a mode of the game where you can turn it on and the noise that your PlayStation controller or whatever
Oh
captures,
yes,
the alien will the xenomorph will hear it, and that will also give your position away.
I forgot
So if you're
about that.
breathing, if you're breathing too hard or if you're talking too loudly or whatever, right? So we turned that off, not because like we didn't want to play with it. We turned it off because we were
Yeah.
streaming the game, and you have to talk during the stream.
Yeah.
So we turned it off. But like, yeah, I didn't even think I forgot to mention that, but that does exist. And so like playing the game with that as well, and you inadvertently yelp when you see something, right? And then
Mhm.
No
now
way.
the xenomorph knows where you are because it yelped.
So any noise you do in that game, especially on Nightmare, you got to be careful because
Yeah.
when you pull up your scanner, the alien can hear it.
Yes.
So do it very sparingly through that game. But I think it doesn't work as well in Nightmare mode. I think it's more glitchy or something if I remember
okay.
right. But my
That is
God.
super cool.
But when you're trying to get
Oh,
through the
wow.
synths, because those
Ugh.
working Joes, they hurt. They hurt
Yeah.
a lot, especially on that mode. Alien is a lot more aware on that mode, and
Yeah, I'm
we're seeing
sure.
the two AIs on it.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I got to a point where I'm like, I got to see if I can figure out some strategies. I watched Carcinogen.
Yes, that guy's
he's-
amazing.
Yeah. Oh my God, what a beast that guy is when it comes to these games. So I watched a couple of his chapters and I'm like, oh, okay, let me try to emulate that. It helps, but my God, I don't want to experience Nightmare mode again. I will play the game again because I'm that. Yeah, I love scary games. I will not play the mode again.
I just can't believe that your controller could pick up the noise around you.
Yeah.
And that is super cool.
Well, the programming in that game
wow.
is insane. Yeah.
It's really and I'm so sad. Like this is I mean, if I was doing Vince's show about games that should have gotten sequels that didn't, although this is getting one now finally, like they did announce
Yes.
it.
Mhm.
Yeah, but like, you know, before they announced it, I was like, this would have been on the top of my list of like why this one didn't get a sequel. Even though, as tense as it made me, I would have loved to play a new one. I play a new one. I don't want to play this one again, but I can play a new one, no problem.
Right. Phenomenal game. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
I can
it's a
say
great
I
game.
enjoyed it.
Yeah. All right, Jason, number 3.
Well, from my number 3, well, we're going to get into Fatal Frame myself, actually, but I'm going to talk about part 3, where it's a culmination of what the first 2 games brought. It had multiple characters that you can play, and you're in this house that's slowly getting taken over by what's happening at the haunted mansion or castle, whatever. It has some of the protagonists from like the first game. Spoiler, sorry, but that's what I liked about that one. It still had that creepiness. You actually got to have more of the camera obscura. You had multiple protagonists trying to figure out what's going on in this place, and yeah, it's kind of a lot like the same with Fatal Frame One, just on a bigger scale. And I loved it. I think that's as simple I'm going to get. Any of the Fatal Frame games are so good, but I think Part 3 was one of my favorites.
Does part 3 keep to using the camera? I mean, like the same system as like 1 was?
Yes, so there's a new mode in Part 2 and up, because
Mhm.
in Part 1 you don't get the one shot called Fatal Frame. It's I think Shutter Chance is the highest you can go in Part 1. But Part
Mhm.
2 you get Fatal Frame, which is a stronger shot on your ghosts. So that kept going on that one. So
Okay.
there's more to it in Part 3. You have more modes and more techniques, and each character that you play, I think there was three different protagonists in that one, 3 to 4, and they all had different skill sets. So it made it kind of unique and interesting. So like each chapter had their own ways of playing because of the character themselves.
Do
I
you
never
have to
went
like
past 1.
sorry, I was gonna ask, like, do you have to like fiddle with the camera, like you have to like the focus right, and like you have to change lenses or anything to get like
You can
different kinds of
change
ghosts?
lens. That you don't have to focus. You like you don't have to scroll
Oh,
it down to that, but there is different lens that have different skills on it. So you can
okay.
like use it to stun, or you can use it to extra damage, or you can kind of hold them in place or something like that. Speed and yeah, there's a bunch of different modes
Okay.
on the camera itself, and different film for strength. So like the first level is infinite, so you can use it all the time, but it's weak. It's very weak. But then you can use the next film grade on it, then the other one. Then there's type. It's like type 30, type 60, type 90, S rank or whatever. But um, what you want to do is like you got to hold your camera on the ghost long enough for it to build up. Then you take your shot, and you can do these fatal frame shots when they're just about to attack you. There's timing and all that. Yeah, it can be stressful, but it's a lot of fun.
The film is like a bullet, basically, right? So if you run out of the film, you have to. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
you have to go
interesting.
back
Yeah.
to a different one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but you do have an unlimited one. Like I said, it's just weak, very
Yeah.
weak.
Yeah.
So you're going to be taking a lot more shots, and that means a lot more time with that ghost. That could be very dangerous,
Yeah.
especially with some of them, to how the way they can move. So,
All right. Yeah. Very cool.
and you
Yeah,
go
I
into
gotta get into the series. I do have to get back to the series.
Same
Yeah.
here. Same
Yeah.
here.
well, you go into like a first person mode when you're actually attacking the ghost,
Mm.
whereas it's third
Yes.
person when you're moving around the castle, and that's every Fatal Frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only played 1, but I'm glad you brought up 3.
Oh, I love the entire series. I'm looking forward to playing the one that just got re-released, Lunar Eclipse or something. I think
Mhm.
it's
I
called.
was gonna say they've been remaking them, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to them. So, but I guess my number 3 will be Silent Hill: The Room. Love this game. It's really cool because you play a character that is actually not in Silent Hill. Henry, who is locked in his hotel. Oh, no, not hotel. It's his apartment room, and can't get out. He can hear things outside the room, but everything else is his apartment, and he just stumbles upon a gateway or a hole in his bathroom and just climbs into this area that takes him into a subway. But what's cool is like I love the idea and concept of this game because when you're in your room, everything is first person. So there'd be weird, strange things that are going on. But you can actually put more evil things into your room by putting like a doll or things tied to the main protagonist, or the antagonist, Walter Sullivan, and who was a kid that ended up becoming a serial killer that got locked up into the sane asylum part of the hospital in Silent Hill. Then he escapes and then starts trying to murder like 13 people to try to bring back his mom. But it was a really cool concept because like when you actually go through these portals to these different locations, you're haunted by ghosts. You either people that you're trying to rescue, but they all end up dying anyway, and they become ghosts and they start following you through not just there, but other rooms or locations you go to. So sometimes you may have three of them on you and they just beeline you. And then you're also dealing with other monsters besides these ghosts. You may have artifacts that pinned them to a location, like a sword. But I know that one of the things that was really scary about that game was like the item management because you never really had a good enough resources to like do anything like weapons, I mean guns. You had durability for your blunt objects, your health items. I mean, my first time playing through it, I got to the end, but I ran out of everything, so I never got to finish the game that first time through. I had to start all over to play it and really kind of
Mhm.
take care of what I was doing. And you can cheese some of the enemies. Like I remember that was that one with the baby faces with the arms and stuff that would chase you in the hallways, and there'd be two of them and stuff, and they just like you could just hear them walking, and then they like just come in the room and start attacking you. It's like what the hell? But I mean, it was a really cool game. I mean, two is my favorite of the series, but like I think this one is unique enough that it deserves its place within the mythos of Silent Hill. I know people find this game divisive, but if you think about the lore and how the fact that the evil Samael or whatever was expanding outside of Silent Hill, it makes sense. And we see this in later games like Downpour and the other what's the other one?
Homecoming.
Homecoming.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my number three. What about
I'm
you
not
guys?
I'm not super versed in the Silent Hill lore.
Hmm.
But yeah, like you mentioned, Vince, I had heard that this was the one that like this was the first one that people seemed to not like.
Hmm.
Yeah, but it sounds like I've always like I every time I read about it, it sounds quite interesting, and you've made it sound quite interesting as well.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it's like this, you're stuck in your room. It's supposed to be a safe place, right? Your apartment, your house is yours, right? And it's supposed to be safe. And then suddenly there's a big weird supernatural hole in your bathroom wall. And yeah, so it seems like a very really cool and interesting concept. And I've never kind of understood why it's been so kind of maligned. Yeah.
Hmm.
I only played the first Silent Hill. Took a trip to Pennsylvania, saw the area that Silent Hill's based off of. Read a bunch of lore on like the steam coming up in the church. The church is actually there and everything. Uh, Other than the first Silent Hill, that was it. That was my experience. I know they released a lot more. There was Ice something where the girl's frozen on the swing, or
Shattered
um,
Memories.
yes, that's it, Shadow Memories. But I know the Silent Hill games go for uberous, like amount of money, like ridiculous money.
Yeah.
No reason. No reason. Those games sold millions of copies. There's no
Yeah,
reason those games should be expensive like they are.
it's
I
like the same
agree.
path as the Pokemon games. I just don't get it, but yeah, it's
I had
weird, but
an ex-girlfriend got me Silent Hill 2 for the PS2 a long time ago. And again, because this was, 25 years ago or 25 years ago when I got this. I didn't play it. I tried to play it and I noped out of it, but I kept it. I still have that Silent Hill 2, the original PS2 copy, and I'm glad that I did, because now that I'm more interested in horror games, this would have been really like you mentioned, yeah, it would have been really expensive to try and pick up now. So I'm glad that I have it. Like I've been looking for Silent Hill 1. I'm glad that Bloober is remaking it in the nearish future, because I don't think there's any way I would have been able to pick up a PS1 copy of Silent Hill 1, because I don't have that kind of money lying around. It's
Well,
like, yeah,
after playing the remake of 2, I do have faith that the first remake, part one's remake, is going to be good,
Be good.
as well.
yeah,
Silent Hill series is going to be my number one favorite series of in terms of survival horror, just because of the psychological horror. And I think the reason why Silent Hill 4 was so divisive is because there was so many changes that they did. You don't really have the fog world in that too much. You're not in Silent Hill for the most part. There is like the outskirts of Toluca and things like that, when
Yeah.
you go through the holes in certain areas. Um, Henry himself is kind of bland, but that was the whole point. Um, the idea of the item management, because this is the first Silent Hill that used a storage box, whereas every other one you're just holding on to. You might as well
Yeah,
be
the
like, I
bag
don't
of
know.
holding.
Exactly.
yeah.
So I can understand some of their thoughts on it, but personally, I like the idea that there was a difference in this one, and because we had 3 other ones that had this very similar concept of like, you're in the town, you're in the fog world, and the other world, and this and that. Silent Hill 4 was almost entirely the other world, so to speak, because of what Henry goes through, dealing with Walter Sullivan. And a nice little nod to part 2 in this game is that you first hear about Walter Sullivan in a newspaper clipping in part 2, talking
Oh.
about his killing of the twins, the babyface monster that
Yeah.
you were talking about, the twins. I really enjoyed the game. I thought it was a really good take on the whole Silent Hill thing, and it still felt like Silent Hill to me, because it had that creepy psychological horror. But it was not just about Henry. Mostly, it was about the other tenants in the building, because they were going to be the next victims for Walter Sullivan's ultimate goal, which I'm not going to get into here.
Yeah.
If I don't want to get too much spoilers beyond that. Um, but yeah,
Well,
fantastic game.
James's dad is in the game. The protagonist of 2.
That's right.
The
Part 2.
you get to see how, like, the world of, I mean, the town of Silent Hill is affecting others, because
Yeah.
like when you're dealing with Walter, he is the thing, and it's his world. Like, his essence is taking over that building that you're in. And I don't want to give too much away, but there's a lot of like things that are going on behind the scenes, and you just start seeing that, like, Silent Hill is bleeding into the world.
Yep.
Um,
Like you
so
said, it starts going into other games like Silent Hill Downpour. Well, in the beginning, anyways, you do get
yeah.
into Silent Hill eventually.
Mhm.
Homecoming was probably the most one that you're not in Silent Hill for half the game, which you're in Shepherd's Glen, which is kind of a neat idea that they expanded on from part 4, in my opinion, even though that game's also divisive. I personally enjoyed it, but that's a whole different thing. So,
Do the Silent Hill, I know there's been a lot of them that came out, but do they follow the exact story, or do any of them like deviate and go off into like another different world, or
So there's
that's,
yeah, go
yeah.
ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Vince. I don't know what you were going to
Um
say.
the so like with Silent Hill, it deals with the cult. It deals with the birth
hmm
of the bringing
Yeah.
the demon that the cult worships into the world, and Harry's daughter being the vessel for that demon. Even though it doesn't happen, the demon's presence is still there and it affects things. But because of that, it starts drawing in people that have mistakes they've made, like sins, because it needs their souls. So like that's what happens with Silent Hill 2. James gets pulled in because of what happens and what he did. And you see other people that are drawn in to this town. The only person that's there is this little girl that is just happens to be there. She doesn't see any of the things that these other characters see. And so you have this flip-flop of like you have the main storyline with like 3 that continues stuff that was going on in 1, and then like 4 is like the expansion of the things that are going on. And then when you get to like Homecoming, it's like you're seeing what's happening with Silent Hill actually going into towns and just emptying them out, and people like being afraid and they can't get out of it. It's like if you ever seen the movie In the Mouth of Madness with John Carpenter's movie and stuff, when they're in the come on, what's the town called? Hobbs End. They can't, once they're in the town, they can't get out of the town unless Sutter Kane allows them to leave. But then they become part of the story, so it's like it's kind of like that, but not like a writer telling the story. It's this entity that's there that is bringing in people to just collect these souls, the tormented people, and the more it collects, the more powerful it gets. They haven't really kind of like built up to that, like the penultimate thing that would be going on, but they've just kind of been building up lore, because like sometimes there's stuff that happens way before, like the one with the trucker that comes into town and stuff, and that starts kind of the whole thing at the journey that is the vessel, so that takes place, it's a prequel. There's a lot to it, but yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know. You got any more?
No, I'm good.
No,
I'm good.
okay.
Yeah, go for it.
I wasn't trying to interrupt. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, Origins would be like technically your beginning, because hence the name. It takes place about 7 years before Part 1, and it kind of connects it. Uh, Homecoming, I guess technically would be your end, unless Downpour is somewhere there. I don't know the exact timeline in that regards, but Homecoming deals with more of the cult that he was mentioning, which is called the Order. You deal with it a lot more in Homecoming. Downpour is just your prisoner trying to get out of Silent Hill, but yeah.
And then with Silent Hill F, it's could be the origins of some of this stuff. We don't know, since it takes place in like what
The 60s, I think.
the 60s, yeah.
Yeah.
In Japan. So we'll have to see. But
I've recently tried to I've been trying to build up my Silent Hill collection, as it were, and so I've been able to pick up. Like I said, I had 2 for a while already on PS2. I was able to find the what's it called, Silent Hill HD collection for the PS3, which it has 2 and 3.
That's a good one.
And then I've got Downpour and Homecoming. But I don't have, obviously, like I said, I've been trying to get 1, and 1 is too expensive, so I'm looking forward to the remake when it gets here. And then Room I haven't been able to find, and Origins I haven't been able to find either.
No. And to be clear with Shattered Memories, it has nothing to do with any of the games. It's just kind of a remake of Part 1.
Oh,
in
okay.
a different way. They took a different direction with that. So it's its
Okay.
own side thing. Alternate universe, I guess you could say.
There you go. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I haven't played any of them, but I'm trying to get them because I would like to play them at some point. Yeah.
Collecting Silent Hill is a big mountain to climb.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's yeah.
I can talk about it for hours, but there's so much lore in Silent Hill. It's
Wow.
Oh my god. Yeah, there's a lot.
all right, well, Saiyan, number 2s.
For me, it would have to be Resident Evil. So it would be Resident Evil, the first one. I don't know, whatever you want to go on. If you want to do it on, I mean, I have it on I have it on Saturn.
Oh,
I got
wow.
yeah, I'm a big Saturn collector. And yeah, for me, Resident Evil was phenomenal. I loved it. Was the first horror game, like survival game, that I played, because oddly enough, I did not want to add Castlevania to this list, because I mean, I obsessively played like Castlevania. I've amassed like every Castlevania game either sealed or sealed and opened. But Resident, Castlevania is Castlevania, but Resident Evil is like its first type of wow, like, hey, Capcom, we're going to try this. Let's see if this works. Biohazard was big in Japan. People liked it. I just came back from a recent show, which was Retro World Expo, and the two Chris Redfield and Wesker were both the actors were there who played them in the live action movie for the opening of Resident Evil. I had a Resident Evil director's cut, and I had them both sign it for me
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
for the live actors. I played that game obsessively, and the reason why it's my number two is because you the opening was great. I mean, that movie, you've never seen anything like that even remotely. I mean, PlayStation 1 was like, all right, whatever. You had like a lot of great openings for games. But that opening was wow. So that was like over the top right there. Live action, them, Chris picking up the hand, and it was like, running into the what was, oh, I forgot what it was called. The mansion.
The Spencer mentioned, yeah.
Yeah, the Spencer Mansion, and running into the Spencer Mansion, and then you looking around. I didn't like Barry. I thought, Barry was whatever, but I mean, you're running around, and you got to play as either Jill or Chris, and but it was such a whirlwind for me because there was the hallway, and I think it was like the art paintings, but the windows were on this side. And I remember the dogs jumping out at the windows and me dropping my controller, and that scared the hell out of me. Or trying to fight the snake, and you had to like maneuver around the snake with the flamethrower, and then you would go back and things would change. Whoa, what are these green guys chasing us? Oh, now there are hunters that are involved in this. And oh, whoa, wait a minute. And then you had to get the pieces lined up correctly to put the pieces in the wall. And it would open up like another secret path. And who knew, down in the mansion, there was this whole thing. And Tyrant was crazy. That boss design and the
Hmm.
heart on the chest with the claws, and you had to, shoot him, and then as you were running out of time, the rocket launcher came down, and you finally got the rocket launcher to blow him away. But was he really dead? And the endings, you had multiple endings in that game on who you saved and what you did, and it out of all the horror games, like, that we've mentioned in these conversations, there's a lot of replayability with Resident Evil because of the different um endings that you can get, or you could set. Back then we didn't have achievements, and the challenge with me and all my friends was, who's going to get the save where you're only going to have the two typewriter saves, and you're done? Who's going to have the save where you only use the knife? Who's going to have the save where,
Hmm.
you have the gun, but you don't collect any other weapons? Or, fight through how long could you survive with the knife or something like that. And it was setting up challenges like that with friends and going through the director's cut is better because it provides the analog support, so you're not really going through with tank, kind of like tank controls. I've messed with Saturn where I have the Knights controller, the 360 Knights controller that kind of works with, moving around on Saturn. The great debate is, was Saturn better than PlayStation, or is it what? I mean, and I know, Vince, you did like, some streaming with
Yeah.
Saturn
Hmm.
with Resident Evil and stuff. It Seeing those guys in, like, in IRL and being like, oh wow, like you, and I explicitly said to him, like, you guys, between Symphony of the Night and Final Fantasy Tactics, I said, between the large amount of hours I put in those two games, I said Resident Evil fit like right there, and I loved, just everything about it. And I really got talking to him about the game, and just it exploded. And then when the toys came out for Resident,
Boy
that was an
Biz.
oh man, those
Yeah.
were
Mhm.
those were another, KB Toys, and go right there, pick up I mean the Tyrant figure. And Resident Evil, I just feel it's gotten better with some games, some other games, but I mean, overall it's the first one is iconic because I kind of feel like it set the way for an experimental genre that Capcom was throwing out there, saying, "Oh, let's see if this works." And because we didn't have Shin Megami Tensei on Super Nintendo in the States,
Nope.
and we didn't have
Sweet
um
Home.
that's what I was
Sweet Home,
thinking of.
yeah.
We didn't have Sweet Home, so who knew? I mean, Japan was very big on all this horror and stuff, and we didn't know at the time, and we were playing like, oh, let's play Kirby and all this other, Super Mario, and then here comes Resident Evil, and it's like, oh wow, I'm playing Kelowna, this is great, or I got Crash Bandicoot, and Resident Evil is more like the adult game to play on PlayStation. It was like, oh, this is cool. That's my my top two is definitely Resident Evil.
There's a lot to say about Resident Evil.
Yeah.
But I the only downside to the director's cut version is the soundtrack. That's to me. But I would say that if we didn't get Resident Evil, we wouldn't have the survival horror. Because you think about what games were coming out at the time that were horror themed. Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, they're kind of goofy. They're not like really, unless you're in like the cabin and you're fighting Jason, never know when he's going to be around that corner. Um, but that's NES. On Super Nintendo, technically Super Metroid is a horror alien style game. I mean, you think about the ambiance, the music, and what you never knew what you were going to come across. But that defined a whole new genre with the whole Metroidvania stuff, especially later on whenever Symphony of the Night came out. But Castlevania is technically also a horror game, even though it's a platformer. But yeah, and, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, Resident Evil really set the way for a lot of other games when it came out.
I think they took some inspiration from Alone in the Dark as well. I believe that came out at the time.
Mhm.
It could be, yeah.
I think it was on PC or something, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to say too much because my number two is from the same series, but mine is Resident Evil 7 is my number two.
Okay.
I really really like. So I've played some Resident Evil on and off. I have a funny story. So like when I was a kid, remember I said I got some of this stuff too early and then it freaked me out. I didn't come back to it for a very long time.
Mhm.
So the first horror game I ever played was actually Resident Evil 2. I played it with my little brother sitting next to me. Uh, I have a friend. I had a friend who he had to go. He went like for one summer. He went to visit his father in Argentina, and so he lent me his PS1 and a bunch of his PS1 games. So I was able to play like Final Fantasy 7 thanks to him, and I was able to play Resident Evil 2. And I have a funny story with Resident Evil 2 because we were again I was playing with my little brother next to me, right? Because I couldn't play it by myself. So I was like, let's play this together. So I was playing, and then there's that scene where you go into the interrogation room and the liquor jumps through the window through the mirror, the
Yeah.
what you're right, the two-way mirror.
Interrogation glass. Yeah.
Yeah, and it jumps through it, and it scared me so bad. Like I dropped the controller. My brother and I ran out of our bedroom. That's how freaked out we were. Like we just ran out. We're like, oh my god, that is terrible. And then obviously, like I think we were playing as Leon. Leon dies obviously because no one's there to control him.
Yeah.
And I didn't come back to the game for a very very long time. Like that was a really bad jump scare, right? So I didn't come back to a long time, and so it took me a while to get back to it. Since then, I played the Resident 2 remake, I played the Resident 3 remake, and I played Resident Evil 7. And 7 I played by myself. Resident 2 and Resident 3 remakes, I played with Felicia next to me. But Resident 7 I played by myself. And it's really like it really, really like I love that they change it to the first person view. Because like I to me, first person is always gonna be scarier than third person because first person it's happening to you. Third person, you can see that it's happening to somebody else, right? I see Leon, I see Jill Valentine
Yeah.
in Resi 3, right? But in Resi 7, yes, it's technically a different character, but it's you. It's first person. It's happening to you, right? And the Baker family is extremely horrific, right? Each one is like a different, and I like that every member is like a different, it's a different like genre of horror, right? Like
Mhm.
you have I forget all their names, but like the father, right? He is sort of your traditional like unstoppable killer type. Like, he's the Mike Myers, he's the Jason from Friday the 13th, right? Like he's
Mhm.
that kind of an archetype, right? He's this unkillable monster who is trying to kill you. And then you get to Marguerite Baker, the wife, and she is body horror, right? She's like this weird, like insect spidery thing, and she's got, like it's hilarious to
Yeah.
me because in her boss battle, she's got literal bugs coming out of her vagina, like, and it's weird, but it's like a lot of this body horror, right? Like that's really body horror. And then you get to the Lucas Baker, the son, and his is like Saw, like his is like the Saw, like you have to go through these horrible contraptions and try to like free yourself, and like, so like I like that every as you get through every, and then your own wife, she is, I don't know even what that is, like your character's wife, she's just this weird possessed thing that is hacking limbs off of you. um and then you get to this like the proper psychological horror, which I won't reveal too much because I don't want to. But like the last bit is like proper psychological horror with a bunch of other stuff. Like, and then there's psychological horror going on through the entire game, right? But like it really kind of ramps up towards the end when you fight the final boss. When you're doing the final bosses sort of thing, and it's very, like, I like that, like every sort of section is like a different horror genre. So it's like this like tasting platter of horror. And again, just like it being first person is really, really effective, because it's happening to you. It's not happening to this avatar, it's happening to you. And I haven't played Resi 8, but I've heard that Resi 8 has a similar vibe where it's also like it's a different, like, tasting. Every uh, section of the game is slightly different. Some of them are a bit more actiony than others, but it's also a different kind of, again, like another horror tasting platter of like a different sort of flavor to each section of the game. Um, and apparently they did there's a DLC where they added in like a third person mode, so you can have it to be more like early Resident Evil, as opposed to like this newer version of first person. But I think the first person really works very well. Alien Isolation was equally as terrifying, because it was there's no Amanda Ripley avatar, it's you, right? It's first person. So I think that works really, really well, and I really, really liked it. And it's the first Resi game, and still the only Resi game I've ever played by myself, which I think also made it all the more scarier for me.
Definitely a good one. I enjoyed
That's
it.
true.
It's not
Got
my
that tick.
favorite, but it's still good.
Hmm.
Part of my problem with it was the fact that, like, I know that we're getting with 9 that you're going to get the option, which they should have done in the first place. Third
Of
person, first
first
person.
person, third person. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, from what they originally said, the game was designed to be third person, but because of the success of PT, they changed it.
Oh.
And that PT demo, the Silent Hill PT, was amazing. That was
Hmm.
creepy. And so you get to see the elements of things that they changed, but I'd love to see what that original version of the game looked like if it played like a standard Resident Evil game. Um, but I still think that the Village is the better, because I think they learned what they needed to make the better game with the Village, because it has the better pacing, the better story. It has, like, the mechanics are well done. I think the puzzles are better. But yeah, I do like the whole Lady Dimitrescu. She's like a vampire kind of
Yeah, that was
feeling.
cool.
Gargoyles. You got the werewolves in it with
Hmm.
Heisenberg. You there when you're in the house, when you have the baby chasing you. That's very like that.
That's
That's
very psychological. Yeah.
yeah, and that's the thing is, though, the sad thing is that if you were to speedrun that game, that is the slowest part,
Right.
because there's so
Mm,
many things that you have to do just to get out of that point. Because everything else you could just speed run through. You could do that with everything else in the game, but when you
Uh-huh.
get to that house, it's like it's the it's the
Yeah.
it's great. I love the horror. I love that aspect, and I especially love what they're doing with 9, with Requiem, with the fact that, like, this creature's chasing the main character through this like abandoned apartment or whatever it is. But yeah, it's definitely good. I mean, it's a good direction for the series. Um, whether I feel that they should have like stuck with the same character for 2 games instead of like giving us more with Chris or more with somebody else. You know, Jill, Claire, but yeah, that's just me, my opinion.
I don't I'm not too familiar with like the lore of like I mean I know some of it, right? But like I've not played many of the games,
Mhm.
enough of the games or stuff, right? But like also know that like 7 and 8 kind of really threw a wrench in how like the lore of like the viruses and things because like of how suddenly there's like this sort of weird Eastern European connection that didn't used to exist. And then the Bakers also like there's a ship, right? So like there's a lot of like a lot of lore stuff that people didn't seem to enjoy very much
Mhm.
because of how sort of it sort of rewrote or recontextualized certain things. But again, I'm not a purist, and this is not a
Yeah.
series that I have a lot of, that I have a lot of sort of nostalgia for. So I've been quite happy with what I've played so far. I've enjoyed the remakes. I've enjoyed the. I need to get back and do like the first. I do have like I have it here. I do actually have the director's cut of Resident Evil 1, but I've not played it yet. And I think I also have like there was like not a remake, but like a remaster that's like available on PS4, PS5
Yes.
that I also have access to as well, which I've not. I think I played like the first half hour of that or something. But yeah, I haven't really properly dived into Resi 1. Um, and the one that I know the most is Resi 2 because I played the original and I played the remake of that. But like, but yeah, I would. This is a series that I do want to get it more into as well. Felicia, for whatever reason, Felicia believes that the Resident Evil films are like the greatest film series of all time. I don't know what that's about, but she really loves them. They're not. I don't
They're
think they're
cool.
particularly good,
The
but she
CGI,
loves
the
them.
They're cool.
CGI ones, no.
Yeah, yeah. No. The live
I
action
know
ones. The live action
The
ones. Yeah.
Paul Wes Anderson or
Yeah.
whatever.
She loves them. I don't get it, but she thoroughly loves them, and I've watched all of them with her, and I'm like I don't get it. I'm happy for you, but I don't need to watch these ever again.
I I
uh,
gotta say for Capcom, bravo Capcom for your collector's editions for the Resident Evils because you brought up Village and man, that house for the collector's edition and that detail that they put into that, you could tell that that is a series that they love besides Monster Hunter and they really went into detail with that house. And I mean, you're talking about the Resident Evil 3 and the Resident Evil 2 remakes. And I mean, the statues are Leon's statue is beautiful. Um,
Jill, Jill is gorgeous.
Jill's gorgeous. I mean, that statue, I'm still trying to get my hands on it. And that collector's edition is up there. And they do a phenomenal job with presentation and just the games in general. When I played Village, in my mind it was like because I'm a big purist when it comes to Resident Evil, especially worse so on Castlevania. But I said to myself, okay, we're in Europe, we're in like wherever we are, and okay, we've handled the virus outbreak in Japan and in the States, more the States than anything. So we're gonna take a new approach to this, and I kind of disconnected my mind from what I knew about Resident Evil and allowed myself to get submersed into that entire, new genre of Europe and the way it would and stuff. I kind of felt a little bit like the family in Village was loosely based off of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre family.
Hmm.
And
okay.
I was like, you know, all right, I kind of could see this and such, but the whole baby thing, like I'll even, I had a couple of saves and I said I'm gonna burn one of the saves and just let this thing eat me. And I thought it was I'm like I really want to see this and I thought it was cool. I'm like that's a very different spin on things, Capcom coming from you, but it was not. I wasn't surprised. I was kind of happy not to hear Ada Wong's name again, and it was like something new that
Yeah.
was was going on. The one thing I didn't like about the recent Resident Evil, oh, what was that? The one with the lady vampire, and it was
Yeah,
that's
I
Village.
forgot
Village. Yeah.
The
Village.
Village.
It's he when her daughters hit him with the whatever that meat hook thing is or something, and they drag him, and I didn't. I was like, how much damage can this guy really take?
So
I
that's
mean,
actually explained. It's
It
explained
is,
in the
yeah.
game. Yeah, that there's a reason why,
Yeah.
and the fact that he can seemingly regrow limbs and things like this, like it's explained why. Yeah,
Yeah,
interesting.
if you haven't finished it, yeah, I'm not gonna say anything.
Mm-mm.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
The
there
there's
I
is
got
like,
up. I didn't get up to the only real part I got up to was I think it's the part where you have to fight her or right before fighting her or something,
hmm.
or it's something somewhere around there, and I kind of just stopped it after that.
I've not played Resi 8 yet, but I've seen others play it. So I watch playthroughs on online on YouTube and stuff, right? So okay. And so I know most of what happens, but I also know like I mentioned, right? Or I'm sorry, like Vince, like you mentioned, like Resi 8 also has a lot of sort of like this amuse bouche of horror, right? Every
Mhm.
section feels different. Every section is a different kind of horror. Um, but the reason that I think, like, even though I haven't played it yet, the reason I think that 7 is better than 8 is because the last section in 8 goes on for far too long. The Heisenberg section where like you're underground and you have to deal with like the Nazi no, but I guess they're not Nazis, but like the his reanimated
corpses, yeah,
corpses and
whatever.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like that goes on for a really, really long time. And then the boss battle with Heisenberg seems a bit dumb. But again, I've not played it, so I can't
It's a
100%
very,
confirm that.
it's a very Akira Tetsuro
Yes,
esque.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it felt very dumb watching someone else play through it. Like it felt very like this is too long, and then the boss battle seems quite dumb. But everything leading up to that was pretty good, from what I saw. Like it's pretty like the Lady D stuff is great. The baby stuff is great. And then I saw bits of the DLC where they do the house again, but instead of the baby, it's like the mannequins, which is also really creepy.
Yep.
So I think that's done quite well.
Very, very,
I
very weeping angels from Doctor Who for Doctor
Yes,
Who
yes,
fans. Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Yes.
I didn't mention the DLC for 7, but it's a pretty good DLC there as well. It's got
Mhm.
I like there's the Chris Redfield DLC, Not a Hero, which is a
Mhm.
bit more actiony. It's quite interesting as well. Then there's the
Separate
DLC
ways. Yeah.
uh
With
yeah. Yeah. And then there's the DLC with sorry, not Separate Ways is which one?
that's the one with the when the dad comes or the uncle comes back and saves
Yes,
the
yeah.
daughter.
Mm.
Yes, correct. So that one's really cool. I like that one a lot because you get to body slam the or suplex the creatures, which I think is quite funny and interesting. But and then there's like the one where you're in the room, you play as the camera guy from the very beginning of Resi 7, and you're stuck in the room and Marguerite's trying to like feed you and you have to figure out how to get out of there. That's quite cool. So there's a lot of like 7 had a lot of really interesting DLC. And then there's like the weird happy birthday to the father. The birthday one is also like really it's really
I
weird.
enjoyed that.
Yeah, yeah, but
I
like
don't
it's a lot of
remember
really
that.
weird and interesting DLC that also like it really felt like just Capcom just like experimenting and trying new things and like and seeing how any of this or if it would work. Like I really like that, right? And they kind of continued it with Resi 8 again in that same sort of like let's try different things. Like it's one game, but let's try different things in this one game and see what works better, what works, not as well. So I do want to get to Resi 8 and actually play through it, even though I know the story already. Like I want to play through the whole thing and experience it for myself. And then I do want to get through to 9 as well because like 9 looks really interesting. Requiem looks really interesting, and
Oh, it does.
I do want to get to that. And like I have less love for the earlier games, simply because like I really properly started. Yeah, I played 2 as a kid, but I really properly started with 7. And 7's and I mean I think Capcom was doing this on purpose. Like 7 feels like a reboot of sorts, right? Like this is a new starting point
It
for new
was.
players. Yeah, and they did this on purpose. Like this is the new starting point. You can start here and not worry about the earlier stuff if you don't want to. We have this here. This is where we're going to start. And if you want, and they did, but even though you don't have to do the early ones, they've been remaking them, right? You've got 2, 3, and 4. They've already been remade, so you can go back and play those in a new flashy versions, with controls that don't make you want to kill yourself. And so yeah, so it's like, so I think Capcom's been doing a really good job with the Resi series, just in general, of the new stuff and the older stuff, making it available. And I would like to see a Resi 1 remake. I would love to see a Resi 1 remake, so then you have the, you don't really need 5 and 6 because no one likes those anyways. But you can have 1 through
Hey,
4.
5 was good. 5 was good. Six is the reason why we got 7. So, but
Oh, they could retool 6, I guess. Yeah.
But yeah, like if you have remakes of 1 through 4, you just go back and remake 1, and I think that's all you really need. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 7, 8, and onwards.
Code Veronica.
5, all right. I
Yeah, it's
maybe
Code
maybe 5's all
Veronica.
right.
We
Oh yeah,
already
Code
know
Veronica.
we
Sorry,
already know
Code
they're
Veronica as well.
remaking that too. But yeah,
This one is not.
oh, it's good. It's not
It-
wasn't bad.
It
I
wasn't
enjoyed
bad.
them.
Wasn't good. It
A lot
was.
of the side ones I've not played either. Like, I forgot about Code Veronica, but obviously Code Veronica is really important to the whole lore.
The lore, yeah.
But the
Well,
other
it was
stuff,
intended
very
to
good.
be part of the main line's
Yeah,
story,
yeah.
but technically Resident Evil 1 has been remade, but
hmm
it was a remaster, yeah, but not
No,
like
no.
not like in these flashy versions.
No, they did
well,
the GameCube.
they did a
version.
remake.
They did a
Did they?
remake. Yeah,
Yeah, it was on the GameCube first. I
it's on
think.
PS4.
Oh,
And yeah. I don't.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not
like-
over here. I have it, but it's
It's one of the best remakes I've ever played.
Yeah.
I love it.
oh dang! All right, I got to look this up then, because I thought, like, I know there's a sort of remaster that looks a bit, but it's still kind of, it's not like the over the shoulder. Excuse me. In
No,
the
this
way
is
that
still like you still have your pre-rendered. Well, pre-rendered.
it's still
stuff.
pre-rendered backgrounds, but it does have
Yeah,
tank
yeah.
controls, or it does have. You can either play with new modern controls, or tank controls. But it's
Yeah.
a complete from scratch remake of Resident Evil 1.
it's the HD remaster, right?
No, it's
well,
a,
that the HD remaster is just the one they released on the PS4 and
Yeah.
Xbox.
Yeah.
But that's it's the GameCube release version. And then
Right. But
Yeah.
that's the remake you guys are talking about, right?
because there's
Yeah,
a
okay,
complete
that's-
remake.
That is the one that I have, yeah. But I meant sort of like in the sort of like the way that they did 2 and 3, where it's over the shoulder.
yeah.
It's
Oh,
it's in their RE engine or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like this
Yeah, they
this
didn't
Resident
do
Evil 1,
that.
yeah, they didn't do that. So I'm saying that they should do that. They should do that for RE1. So you have that over the shoulder thing, and it's
And Zero. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Zero too.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely Zero.
Make Zero
So,
co-op.
yeah.
Give some.
So I
love
think
back to
that would
Rebecca.
would be great. So yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of Resi games to play. So far, 7 is my favorite, and that's why it's my number 2.
All right, Jason.
All right. So, Revelations is my favorite. No, I'm kidding. No, we're gonna be some kind of a trend with these the last 3 I'm doing. So, and since we're all talking about Resident Evil 3 is going to be my number 2. Nemesis. I'm talking about the PS1 version.
Yeah.
Nemesis was scary. Every time you hear him in the room and say stores,
Stores.
you got to get out of there quick because he's exactly.
Yes. Yes.
But what I liked about it is that it was kind of more confined to like the way part 1 was. You played as Jill, a couple sections with Carlos, and you're trying to get out of the city when it was going down. It was like in between part 2 and 3. Like the timeline's weird. It's like coinciding with 2 at some point, but yeah. And the whole idea of Nemesis just stalking you throughout the entire game, and every time he comes into the room, you have a couple choices: either hide or attack or do this or do that. I like it was a lot of fun. I love the story of it. Just giving it all to Jill on this one, and it just built upon what Resident Evil 2 did, even though 2 had a lot more scenarios involved. But I just love part 3 just a tiny bit more because of Nemesis, and it had mercenaries. It was fun.
3 has the one where it's like you think you're safe in all the safe rooms, but then there's that one safe room where you're not safe,
Yes.
right? Yeah,
Yes.
I remember that
Yes.
from I think they kept that for the remake, so I remember that as well. So I was like, ah,
Yeah, so you're paranoid throughout the entire game if that's going to happen again, and it
yes,
doesn't. But
Yeah.
you
yeah,
had that thought there. But
Well, and then the cool thing about 3 was the ability to have different scenarios of things that are going on. So each playthrough was never the same. So you may come
exactly,
across a cutscene or dialogue because of one choice you made, like say you blew up the diner versus doing something else. And this happens. You may find one of the mercenaries alive instead of them being dead, or
yeah,
seeing what happens to them to become killed. That was really cool because like when me and Andrew were playing through it and stuff, it was cool to see things that we didn't see. And we played this game multiple times, but I guess we were just playing it a certain way. We weren't experimenting with how we were doing it the last time, when we were kids,
interesting.
teenagers.
oh, the,
Is this only in the original? I guess.
yeah,
Oh,
because
very cool, very
Yeah,
cool.
the remake, it's the one
it's
thing I
very
wish they did with the,
it's very
yeah,
linear.
yeah,
Yeah. And I know they cut at least one sort of main section out of the remake. Something with the clock tower or something like that. Where
Clock
they
Tower
cut
in the
that.
park. That
Yeah,
those
okay.
two. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. So I know I'm missing something because yeah, I've only played the remake.
as much
Yeah.
I enjoyed the Resident Evil 3 remake, but yeah, it felt rushed compared
Mm.
because the just kind of weird spots, and I don't know what they were thinking, but it was just kind of interesting with Nemesis being like his mission was to take out the Stars members.
Mm-hmm.
Took up quite a few of them and chasing Jill throughout the game, and then you had Carlos, who was he was cool. I just kind
I
of
think
wish he was
I think
more.
new Carlos is better than old Carlos. Just gonna
New
put that.
Carlos is awesome. I'll give you
Yeah.
that. They did amazing
New
with him.
Carlos has amazing hair.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, he
of course.
does.
But it would be nice to have Carlos back at some point. Like, what
Mhm.
happened to all these side characters like Carlos and Billy and who else there? Like Rebecca, we barely seen too, and
Mhm.
she had only one game. Like
Yeah.
Sheva, you got
Sheva, yeah, they should have their own game altogether. Throw them into Resident Evil Revelation 3 or something. I don't know, but no, 3 is just a lot of fun. I think part 2 is slightly better because of the two different scenarios they got. You got Claire and Leon, and two iconic characters in the series, but Jill was already established in 3 because
Jill
part
was
1.
crazy.
Yeah.
But I just find I enjoy that game a little bit more for some reason, and I think it has a lot to do with the more straightforward storyline, even though you have branches that you can do, and the mercenaries in that as a side game that you can do is so much fun in that. So
saying you got anything to add to for 3?
I just happen to. I mean, 3 was great. I love 3. I played 3 when it came out, and then I played the remake. I did like Carlos in the remake. I thought Carlos had great hair too, and he was like, cool and everything. He was always there to like help you out and stuff. And um, I felt the remake was a little bit easier than the original Nemesis.
that's
Um,
true.
so I was like, it wasn't bad. I mean, to see Jill in all her glory and stuff was cool, but Nemesis was always great. I always loved Nemesis. The artwork on when you look at the instruction manual and the front of the game, that was cool in itself, like because you didn't know what you were going to expect for this thing to come after you. I also think when I think Nemesis, I think of him in the Resident Evil movie, and they did him extremely well with the gun, and he was like the bulking type of guy, and just walk forward every time would walk, he would say stars, and it was just you had to eliminate the stars members. They did him so well in the movie too. I kind of feel like they did justice with Nemesis. Not a lot of people that I know talk about Nemesis. It's either Resident Evil 2, and then it's dumping grounds for 5 because people hate 5 from what I know, and then the obscure Gaiden, which Gaiden has a great soundtrack for Game Boy, and it's also interesting where the bar goes back and forth. I know I'm going off on a tangent on this, but Gaiden was great, but really, um, I have to agree. Nemesis was phenomenal. Nemesis was a very, very good, really good game. I mean, especially the cheat he would chase you, the camera angles that they would show him at, and just really overall, I would say, yeah, it's that was a really good game. You don't get that scared type of, oh, I gotta run, what do I do, in the remake. It doesn't stress that as much.
Mhm.
So I mean, the original was the best, I would have to say.
It's
Yeah,
not as good as Mr. X in the remake of
that's what I was.
2.
That's what I was gonna
Yeah.
say. Yeah.
Uh,
Whereas I found the original Nemesis is better than the original Mr. X, which might be a hot take. I don't know. So
It's
Well,
funny to
it's
me that the
yeah.
three of us have picked a Resi game, but none of us have picked Resi 4, which seems to be the crowd favorite. Like when you go online and you in the general
that's
discourse,
true.
Resi 4 seems to be the one that everyone sort of puts at the top, or most people put at the top, but none of us have.
Well,
Well,
and
Vince,
so
I
oh
was to say,
yeah,
Vince, you still got
I still
to.
got my number 2, but I
Yeah.
will say this. So for those who don't know, remake of 3 was originally supposed to be an additional scenario that you unlocked into. That's why it was as short
Oh,
as it
that's why it's so
was.
short. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm gonna detour from Resident Evil with my number 2, and that is because I mean, as much as I love Resident Evil, it's a part of my history. I love it with my dad and my friends. Um, Alan Wake, man,
Hmm.
Alan Wake is my number 2.
Yeah.
Talk
good
about
game.
talk about a game that like kind of feels like Twin Peaks with like um this darkness horror, so like the dark half in a way, all about a writer that goes to this town with his wife to kind of isolate so he can write this book that he's got a deadline on, and then his wife disappears, and then you find out that he didn't come to the town and it is with his wife, and that the cabin doesn't even exist anymore, and he's trying to figure out the pieces, but he's he's there within the cabin under the water and all this other stuff. There's all these things that are like just happening and the set pieces and like fighting the darkness with light. Such a cool concept, right? You just use take your beam of light to weaken them and then shoot them with a gun or an axe that knock them out. Um, Great ambiance. Talk about a game for the 360 that was like it just stood above some of the games that we were getting, especially for horror. The soundtrack, there were funny moments, technically when you're like on the farm and you have the lords of the elder gods with them playing their song and stuff while you're just having this all out horde battle coming at you. But such a good game, and we got a sequel, and it's actually part of this whole Remedy verse that's and me and Dan have talked about this on length on another episode. But it is so good, and I'm glad that we did get a sequel. I need to play the DLC still, but yeah, that's my number 2.
I love Alan Wake. I love the Remedy verse that they're building. Um, and yeah, we have talked about this at length
Yeah.
before. But yeah, it's really, and as a writer myself, I love that the main character is a writer and he's trying to write his way out of this, and it's really good. Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the way I played Alan Wake was on the 360 originally, which I have a copy of. I don't have the system, but I have the game, so tells you a lot about this game. I have the remaster of it now on what is it, PS5.
Hmm.
But I want to play part 2 because I want to see this expanded story of Alan Wake, and I love the idea that it went into this like Remedy verse, with Control and other stuff like that. I didn't expect them to do something like that, but it's so cool that they went into that realm of trying to bridge together the survival horror game with this actiony control game. But yeah, Alan Wake was such an interesting concept. You're a writer trying to get out of this scenario, but I'm curious about part two. I tried not to watch your stream too much, Vince, when you were streaming it. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna chime in a little bit, but I don't want to get too spoiled because I've been wanting to play it. So yeah, good choice, very good choice. I definitely break from the Resident Evil round that we had here. Yeah.
I gotta try it. I know one of my friends talked it up a lot and said it was an amazing game, Alan Wake, and I'm like, I really should look into it. I think that the second one has something that is it like the ocean or something, or
That's part of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
that's part of it. We won't. We. I think Vince and I should not speak
Yeah,
too
we're not gonna
much.
say it, yeah,
but
because there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
It's really well done. Yeah.
It's a psychological horror too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Some
The
of it.
second one is more so, I think, than the first
Yeah.
one. But yes, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, those are games I got to get on my list. I know my friend was like, "Oh, it's a great game. It's excellent," and he loves Parasite Eve and loves horror games and was talking this game up a lot. So I was like, "Oh, I should really try this and see how it is."
It's a very good time.
Yeah. All right, so we're down to our number one.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to do honorable mentions first or no?
We can't just let's like two.
I honorable mentions. Uh, so Retro Realms put out a Halloween game. Halloween, you play as Michael Myers and Ash from the Evil Dead.
Yes.
I got the collector's edition for that. So with the little Michael Myers plush, that would be my first honorable mention. Like I said, my second honorable mention, good job Ubisoft, but you really didn't cut it, would be Cold
Cold
Fear.
Fear.
Mm-hmm.
I have wanted that for a very, very long time. I played it. I maybe about an hour, maybe 2 hours, 3 hours into it, and I was like, this isn't. It's like a Resident Evil clone on a boat, and you're shooting Russian zombies and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. I gave it up. It was more hyped up. Growing up, everybody was like, "Oh, Cold Fear," but it was Xbox Cold Fear, and it was never PlayStation Cold Fear because you had a lot of other games that overshadowed it on PlayStation that we've mentioned. And I was like, whatever, I'll try it. And it was okay. And then I was like, I'm done. So those are my honorable mentions.
I for honorable mentions, I just want to shout out Bloober. I know a lot of folks have issues with Bloober before Silent Hill 2, to the point where people were like, didn't think that Silent Hill 2 remake was going to be any good because they didn't have any faith in Bloober. But the games that I played for Bloober, I've really enjoyed. I've done Layers of Fear. Felicia and I are now playing through the Layers of Fear remake slash reboot slash remaster, whatever it is. So it has Layers of Fear 1 and 2 and all the DLC plus some extra bits in that one, and we're playing through that. I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed Blair Witch, their Blair Witch game. I thought was quite good. I played it 3 times so that I could so that I could platinum, because you have to do different things in different playthroughs to get like all the endings and all the different things. And their weakest game is probably the medium, but I mostly enjoyed that one as well. I think that was pretty, and I like the sort of the idea of like going back and forth between the different worlds. I thought was quite cool. I've not finished Observer yet, but that's also them, and that
That's
seems
good.
pretty cool. It's got Rutger Hauer, right? That's like I think
Mhm.
his final role or something, which is also so like I played a little bit of it. It seems really interesting. I gotta finish it, and then the Silent Hill 2 remake. That's I gotta finish that as well. I've only played like the first 2 hours, and I gotta get through all of that. So like I just want to shout out, and like I think Vince, you mentioned Chronos that just came out. And I got to get my hands on that because that looks really cool too. So yeah, I just want to shout out Bluebird because like I think they got a bad rep for some reason, and I don't understand it because every game that I played has been very very enjoyable. Yeah, there you go. Those are my honorable mentions.
Well, I got a couple quick ones. Dread Out series, very much in the same vein as Fatal Frame. You use your phone, your smartphone, as your weapon. Um, there's a couple games out of it now. You just play a girl that's trying to escape this haunted village in the first one, and the repercussions of that affects her in part two, and she keeps fighting these demonic ghosts and things like that. It's a lot of fun. It's a more indie-ish, I guess you could say, but check them out if you haven't played any of them. They're on multiple platforms now. And my other one would be White Day. White Day is another. Um, it's a Korean game, I believe.
Mm.
It's not Japan, but basically you're just, if you know the concept of White Day, you're getting a white chocolate for the girl you like instead of the whole Valentine's Day. It's usually the other way around and things like that. So you go into a school, haunted school at night to bring your white chocolate to her desk and her diary, and ghosts ensues, and a crazy janitor that's hunting you down. Both games are really creepy and a lot of fun too. Those quick honorable mentions.
Yeah. For me, one that stick out that just came out of my head that like I had thought about that you had mentioned something very that kind of lines to what your last game you said. Ghostwire Tokyo.
Mm.
That is a
Oh,
fantastic horror. Because like those ghosts and the demons and the yokai that you fight sometimes are creepy. And it like and it's ultra realistic tones and colors and everything, the lighting, it looks like you're really there in Japan. Um,
no, I
and
have to
then
look into that.
yeah, the other two that I because I those are this is my original two I was gonna say, which was The Thing. Because it's great to be able to play a game that technically continues the story of one of my favorite horror movies. Um, and then which is technically canonically, as far as John Carpenter said, a actual sequel to the original Thing movie. And then Hail to the King, Evil Dead on PS1.
Yes.
But the one I mentioned before that Saiyan didn't get to hear is Ghostwire Tokyo.
Oh, okay.
That is an amazing game. Like the visuals, it's first person. Um, it's ultra realistic looking. Like it looks like you're walking on the streets. Like you can see like if it's rain, there's like reflections on of the water, and it's just really gorgeous. But it is creepy. Like there's the ghosts, the demons, the yokai that you fight
It's
are really
specifically
good.
Shibuya, right, Vince?
Yeah, I believe
Yeah.
so. Yeah,
Because yeah, I think it's the like the sort of the idea of the 100,000 ghost parade that usually takes place in Shibuya.
correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
That came out on PS4, PS5, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I ended
I
up getting
have
it
it.
on PS5.
I haven't been able to finish it. I started it and then I stopped it for some reason. I haven't gone back to it yet. Did you play the prologue, Vince? It was like this sort of like
No, I do have it, but I haven't played it
okay.
yet, which is the
Yeah, it's
story leading up to what happens
yeah,
to the one who gives him the powers, the main
correct.
character.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like it's almost like a visual novel type thing, but
Mhm.
it's pretty interesting and it does give a lot of lore for the main game. Yeah.
Yeah. And I hope that
Mm,
there's a sequel. I mean, it was really good. I'd love to see
mm,
where this goes with the main character,
mm.
but yeah,
Yeah.
so those are mine. Yeah, let's get into ones. So
Hmm. I'm I'm kind of surprised no one mentioned it. My one my one is split, so it was a hard decision for me between Castlevania and this other game, but I would have to go with the other game, which would be Splatterhouse. Um, Splatterhouse. My story with Splatterhouse was that I was not allowed. My mother was like ridiculously strict, and I was not allowed to play games like Splatterhouse. So Genesis at that time, if you put yourself into that mindset, Genesis did what Nintendo did not, and brought you games like um Splatterhouse and a lot of like really good beat 'em ups and stuff. So my aunt knew I wanted Splatterhouse. So I guess it's Splatterhouse 2 on the Genesis. Um so she bought me um Disney's Aladdin and opened up the clamshell and put Splatterhouse in it, closed it, wrapped it up and gave it to me for my birthday. And she's like, because my stuff was like my TV, Genesis, everything were downstairs in the basement because we had a finished basement. She just go downstairs and open it up. And my mother bought me Aladdin for Genesis because the two of them just didn't, I don't know, they didn't communicate. And I open up, I'm like, great, yay, two Aladdins. What am I gonna do with this? And she's like, oh, don't be stupid, open it up now. Okay, fine. So I open it up, and there was Splatterhouse. And I remember playing Splatterhouse and playing it and playing it and playing it. And fast forward like just years later, I have it for PC Engine
Nice.
with
Awesome.
the big box. I have Splatterhouse for Genesis, the blue box, Splatterhouse 3. I have it on PlayStation, and I have the collector's edition for 360. I think it came with his mask. Um, it was like such a great game. It was so rewarding to get over that guy with the two chainsaws on his arm that he would just go back and forth and destroy you in the like in Splatterhouse. Just because of licensing, Japan had the mask and the United States had the mask, but it was a different color because we couldn't associate ourselves with Voorhees. And even though a lot of the kids were like, "Oh, I'm gonna play as Jason," that was the one thing everyone was like, "Yeah, we're gonna all play as Jason." And that game is gory. The music is great. The storyline and the way they kept it through from one to, well, technically two, and then two to three. I didn't like three because there was, I don't know what they were thinking with putting in a time limit. And then you have the map and you have to work your way around in order to get to save her or whatever. And I don't feel Splatterhouse should be a speed run event where you have to go from one area to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. But even the one on PlayStation 3 where you fought, you collected your stuff, did whatever, and you could unlock the originals on PlayStation 3 and play them. It was really cool. I had the chance to play Splatterhouse on an original Japanese arcade machine at one of the cons I went to, and I was like really like enjoying it a lot. I've loved. It's just a really like great series. Some people are just like, oh, it's Splatterhouse, I can't take the gore. The first monster, looks like genitalia, and like, it just, I hate being in the elevator and these things are attacking us, and just, it's just, it, it really, I mean, we talked about a lot of games here, but to me, it's just like spooky time goes with Splatterhouse, like amazing soundtracks go with Castlevania. It just Splatterhouse is a phenomenal, like, hey, side scrolling like beat 'em up and stuff like that. And overall, I mean, it outbeat Castlevania, but there's not enough time in the world for me to go on about them. But I mean, Splatterhouse is my definite number one. Like I religiously will play Symphony of the Night and Splatterhouse like every starting October, and I just think they're phenomenal games.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I've only really ever played one, but yeah, I enjoy it.
I
I
think
don't
the
know, like
only
cool.
I think the only Splatterhouse I played was the chibi one. I forget what it's called.
Paku,
Yeah,
Was
that
it
one. I think it's
Paku,
yeah.
Wafu,
Ganbaku?
Paku,
Yeah,
Paku,
yeah,
Wafu,
yeah.
something,
Well,
yeah,
Paku
Yeah,
Graffiti,
that's it.
something like that.
Paku,
Yeah, yeah,
something over there, yeah.
yeah. But I think it's the only one I've ever played properly.
That's a cool
uh,
one for
yeah,
Nintendo. That's a really cool one. Or no, yeah, Famicom.
Famicom. Yeah.
I've only played it just last month, actually, for the first time on stream, and it was a blind playthrough. Really enjoyed it. Planning to go back because I didn't finish it. I was close. I think I made it to like, I don't know, was it stage 6 or something? Great game though. Oh, I had a blast.
All right. Before I say my number one, I just also want to shout out real quick. I forgot during the honorable mention. I just want to shout out a game called Detention. It's a Taiwanese game, and it's a side scroller, but like it's like a puzzle. It's not a platformer. It's a puzzly game, and it's got a lot of like really interesting Chinese ghosts, and it deals a lot with like the history of Taiwan, specifically the White Terror that happened back in the 50s and
Hmm.
60s or so. Yeah. But that's a great game, and I highly recommend it. It's also a short one. But anyway, my number one, um, which is I didn't want to talk too much while Vince was talking about his number two, because my number one is actually Alan Wake 2.
Oh wow.
I really love this game. It is my personal game of the year for whatever year that came out. It was like 2023, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Something
Yeah,
like that. Yeah.
I love this game
Recent
so
anyway.
much. I think I bought it like 3 times. Or no, 2 times. Sorry, I bought the digital when it first came out, and then I bought the physical version when all the DLC, and I bought the DLC twice as well, technically, because I bought the DLC as it was coming out, the digital side, and I bought the physical version where it has everything, and of course it also comes with a free copy. I don't know if you see that free copy of the Alan Wake remastered.
Oh,
For
that is cool.
Yeah, so you get basically the full Alan Wake experience here, with the sole
Wow.
exception of Control, because Control is sort of the middle game, and Control was my game of the year when it came out, which I think was 2019. And one of the Control DLCs is specifically Alan Wake related. So that was my first experience with Alan Wake, was in that Control DLC, and then I went back and played, because I do have the 360 copy as well. So I went back and played that, and then I played Alan Wake Remastered on the PS5, and then I played Alan Wake 2. And Alan Wake 2, I think I like it more than, in terms of horror, specifically horror. I like it more than either Alan Wake 1 or Control, because it's a lot scarier. I feel like it's more properly horror. There's a lot of psychological horror going on. There's a lot of jump scares going on. Alan Wake 1 is technically horror, but I wasn't like, it's more eerie, more spooky than like flat out scary, right? And Control is very like, and I love Control, but Control is also just more spooky than properly scary. It's although I do rate it a bit higher on the scary meter than Alan Wake 1. But Alan Wake 2 pulled out all the stops. It's really properly scary. And the second DLC, the Lake House, the first DLC is more kind of tongue in cheek. Um, and it's a bit sort of jokey in most, because it's like 3 episodes of the fictional Twilight Zone-esque show within the game universe called Night Springs. Um, and so there's a bit more tongue in cheek, a bit more like funny. But the second DLC, the Lake House, is properly scary. It's really really good. It's you play as one of the side characters in the main game. And it's, yeah, like the whole game is very scary, and like it builds on what Alan Wake and Control started, and it also has ties to other Remedy games that technically they can't officially put into the Remedyverse, because they don't fully own all the rights. But like there's Max Payne stuff in Alan Wake 2. There's
Wow.
Quantum Break stuff in Alan Wake 2. Even though again it's sort of like more of a wink and a nod in that direction, as opposed to a flat out, because again like I think Microsoft owns half the rights to Quantum Break,
Quantum Break, yeah.
and
Mhm.
yeah, and they sold Max Payne to Rockstar, so they can't, even though they're making a Max Payne remake, they're supposed to be making a Max Payne remake. It's still technically owned by Rockstar because they sold off the rights. So they can't officially put them into the Remedyverse, but they're still there. Like it's obviously that they're still there, and they're winking super hard in that direction. But yeah, it's a fantastic game, and it's this culmination of everything that Remedy had done before, and they kind of just brought everything into this game, and it works really well. You think that, like, because obviously none of this was planned to be like in the same universe originally, right? They sort of kind of haphazardly kind of just sort of like glued everything together, and you would think that that's a terrible way to make a shared universe, but it works really well. Like they got lucky, I feel like. I think they got really lucky in that their shared universe works really well. And I think the main thing I really really enjoy about Alan Wake 2 is that it's also very meta, because again, one of your main characters is a writer, and the things that he's writing to try and like fix what's going on in the game, without giving away too much, like it's very meta. There's like multiple levels of how this works, of what sort of dimensions, I guess, for lack of a better term, you're dealing with, and some of it spills out into the real world because of how this all works and who is behind Remedy, and the fact that I suddenly forgot his name, but the main guy at Remedy, he was the original face actor for Max Payne.
Max Payne, yeah.
Yeah, and he was the
wow.
original face for Alan Wake, I believe. And then there's the Alan Wake actor who also has different voices, and there's like it's a lot of really meta stuff that they play with, and it works very, very well. So yeah, that's my number one scary game is Alan Wake 2.
Sam Lake.
Sam Lake, thank you, Sam Lake.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his name. So even that, it's like Alan Wake, Sam Lake, right? So yeah, but like Sam Lake, yeah, he's the main guy in Remedy, and because he's the main guy, and he also acts in various things as various characters, and it's very very meta, and it works really, really well. So
Great
Definitely
game.
gotta play it.
everyone needs to play Alan Wake and Control and Alan Wake 2. Yeah.
Yep.
I gotta try this.
Yeah, it's worth it. Totally worth it. They're good.
Yeah.
My turn now.
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep with the theme of part 3. Silent Hill 3 is my number 1. Even though Silent Hill 2 is, for a lot of people, arguably the best in the series, part 3 is my favorite for a few reasons. It is the continuation of part 1. It has the first female protagonist in the series. It also is probably the darkest of the games in terms of the aesthetic, the creepiness, the story, just everything about it is just dark. Especially with certain characters that you loved from the first one. Music, everything about it. I don't want to get too much detail if you haven't played part 3 yet. It is such a well done game, even though they kind of rushed it a little bit because of how fast they wanted to put out another sequel due to the success of part 2. I just love it. It is my favorite survival horror game for the longest time. There probably is a couple other ones I can probably put in this slot, but I can't have Silent Hill missing from my list in one way or another. So we're gonna go with 3.
The
It's just an
film
amazing
is
game.
based on 3, right? The movie?
Part 2 of the film series, yes,
Oh, part
and
2. Okay.
It's not great.
Oh,
it's
I've
not
seen those
great.
films.
I appreciate some of the ideas because a couple of the monsters that they threw in that movie was actually kind of neat. And they were in the other world a little bit more than the first film, even though I like the first film more. No, it's not a good adaptation of part 3 in any way, shape, or form, other than the fact she looked like the character. She did pretty good for what she had. They messed up Vincent.
I'm sorry I brought it up.
They did the cop, the detective, so dirty in that movie. No, the game's way better on this one.
Okay.
Way better. No, but the story is really good. It's like you're continuing what was happening in part 1. It's like about 17 years later in terms of timeline and story. I don't want to get too bogged down into the storyline because there's a lot of spoilers pretty quick. But you're playing a teenage girl that's thrusted into this the cult and the horror of what Silent Hill was at the time. And she's just trying to figure out what is her connection to everything. And she's also kind of a, what's the word I'm looking for? A don't care attitude at the same time with certain characters. She looks at the detective and is like, oh, really? I don't care. You stay over there. I'm going this way. Kind of attitude. And that's what I liked about her too. But she's kind of strong, but has a lot of issues that she has to go through. Very psychological in that one. Very, especially in the hospital. Holy crap! But yeah, that's my number 1, 100%.
It's a great one. And you get the lightsaber
Oh yes,
in her Sailor Moon outfit
What?
when you beat it a certain way.
yeah. That's how you get the one ending. There's 3 endings in that game, and the UFO ending is a staple of the Silent Hill series, even though it's not in every one of them, but most.
Yeah,
Is it?
you get a bean saber that almost looks like the basically the bean saber from Gundam. And
Mhm.
she gets
Oh,
actually like a Sailor Moon outfit.
I
It's
assume
pretty
that's
wild.
that's
Yeah.
the ridiculous ending, like the dog ending in Silent Hill 2.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. It's a pretty funny ending.
Okay.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
It's so well done. I don't want to spoil it. You got
Yeah.
check it out if you don't want to play the game. At least YouTube the UFO ending in Silent Hill 3. You'll get a kick out of it.
You looking it up right now?
yeah, that's nuts, especially in a horror game too.
Right, yeah, because
Yeah.
it's like so out of left field, but like you think about it, like I could see a girl doing that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, look at that. That's a
I have to
weird
play
costume.
this just to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's the thing too. There was a lot of costumes you can get in that game.
Hmm.
That's just one of many.
And some other cool weapons too, but it was like notably like the beam saber was like one hit kills. You just
Yeah.
it's
It's
what you
killer.
strive for. But
Hilarious.
Yeah. If you want to play like a Jedi in Silent Hill games, that'll be the one to go for.
Wow.
all right, so my number one may not be something that people are surprised by, but it is definitely not a Resident Evil game. Came out in 2008, played it on the Xbox, but this is something I was super hyped for because being a fan of a particular movie and having a game that takes place in a setting that deals with creatures that are very similar, and that is Dead Space.
Ooh,
You
that was going to
have
be my choice.
you have
Uh,
the Ishimura, which is a planet cracking mining facility ship in deep reaches of space, and Isaac Clarke, who's a he's an engineer. He's not your typical military guy. He's brought there because there's been like no communication. All that's been lost. So they're sent out to find out what's going on. Maybe like their radar antenna was destroyed. Who knows? But then you find out that his girlfriend is the medical officer on the ship, and he's not only being tormented by this thing called a beacon by these creatures that are called necromorphs, which is the whole idea was like the thing in space with creatures that reanimate and they come at you, and you have to blow apart every limb to kill them officially. So, and you don't even like use regular weapons. You use engineering tools like a beam cutter and uh, basically a nail gun. I mean, like you just all this stuff, and then like you get all these different cool armors. The setting was just perfect. It it was my favorite game for a while, as far as like horror wise, because it gave me everything I wanted in a horror game, and it was the closest I could ever get to a thing game outside of the thing game we got. But and then we got 3 sequels technically, because I mean you had like there was a prequel mini game thing that came out on the Xbox Live.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah. I don't remember what it was actually. It was like Dead Space something. Dead Space Ignition, I think it was. And then what was cool about like three gave you the option to be able to play with your friend. So it was two
Mhm.
player.
well,
So much lore in Dead Space between the games, the movies that they did,
The two animated movies, yeah.
yeah, the comics, the
Hmm.
it's such a rich storyline, and you wouldn't even expect that just playing Dead Space One. Um, but they go deep into the marker and the necromorphs and what really is,
The cult that's going on, the religious group that's like
yeah,
trying to.
yeah, the unitology there.
Hmm.
Wow, that storyline in itself, how that started was like on based on a lie, but you know, um,
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the
considering
true enemies. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, because I don't if it's if people who haven't played it, I can't give away like some of the fine details of like what goes on, especially with the marker and what's really going on. It's like you get into
Oh yeah.
that tinfoil hat, Charlie Day with the marker and all the conspiracy theories.
All I can say is when I finished part three and the DLC of it, I was like, uh, what? I want more now. What happens? Yeah, I don't want to get into the spoilers of that, but like, play this series if you haven't. If you have, then you know what we're talking about with the what's really happening with the story of Isaac and so many other characters.
And it plays like Resident Evil 4.
Mhm.
And then rest in peace, Visceral Studios. So,
Yeah.
but
I've not finished it. I've got the remake. I played a little bit of it. It's quite good. I have a funny story about like when back on because it originally came out on the PS3, right? So we had a friend who
Mhm.
lent us the PS3 copy for us to play. I think it was one of the first games that Felicia and I tried to play together. And right at the beginning, there's where everything goes to hell immediately, right? Like you're stuck on one side of the thing, and then a bunch of stuff's happening on the other side, right? And then you're supposed
Mhm.
to run away. And then the very first necromorph that pops out at us at Isaac scared us so badly that we were like, no, we noped out. We are like, nope, we're not gonna play this. Maybe we'll come back to this later. I don't know. And that was what 10, 15 years ago. And
yeah,
then we never got back to it. We never played the PS3 version again. And then now there's the remake, and I've been playing the remake. The remake is really good, and that because I was already sort of, you know, prepped for that opening bit, I was like, all right, this isn't going to scare me as bad anymore. But those necromorphs, they're horrible, and they come out of the the worst places. You
everything.
don't expect them. Yeah,
Yeah.
just everything. They're just you hear them scuttling around. You don't know where the fuck they are. Like it's. Oops, sorry. They all right. They yeah, they're really scary. I don't like them. They move horribly. The baby ones with the oh
The
god,
tendril,
yeah,
the three tendrils that
yeah,
come
the
up
three
that shoot
tendrils.
the
It's just
Yeah.
oh, I hate those. Like it's really good. It's really good design, like really good monster design. Uh, horrifying monster design. It's really good. I got to get back to it. I got to finish it. And I think just to kind of mention another one, Callisto Protocol tried to do something
Oh
similar,
yeah.
but
and
didn't
it's
quite stick it right. Like there's a lot of
yeah.
stuff kind of. It's a bit like I played a little bit of Callisto Protocol as well. It feels slower. It feels not as sort of as zippy as Dead Space. And I know
Mhm.
it's the same or part of the same
Part
team,
of
or
the
at least
same team, yeah.
yeah, part of the same team. And they didn't quite recapture it the
Which
way
is
that Dead Space
unfortunate.
did. Yeah,
I kind of
but
enjoy
yeah,
Callisto.
yeah. I mean, I'll get back to that eventually as well. I did want to finish it, but like it does, like just in those first couple of hours, like it doesn't feel as zippy as Dead Space. It doesn't feel as good, I guess, is the you know the nebulous amorphous term to use here, but it just doesn't feel as good as Dead Space does. Yeah.
I know for Callisto Protocol, my local GameStop was doing some sort of deal or something, and they had so many pre-orders for the collector's edition for Callisto Protocol. I got one of them. I think it was like $10 or something with the statue and everything like that, and I have it sitting around here somewhere. But I never played it. I always thought like I played briefly Dead Space 3. No, Dead Space for PlayStation 3, but most of my time on PlayStation 3 was eaten up by the Dynasty Warrior Gundam games.
Yes, those games are so good.
So,
Yeah,
um, I played some of it, and I kind of thought the Callisto Protocol was like Dead Space, but it didn't
Yeah.
cut it. Exactly what you said. Didn't cut it quite as close, but a lot of people I know, um, Dead Space is the must
yeah.
of playing like space horror like type of games. So
And
yeah.
I love that Dead Space sort of has this. It shares this DNA with the Event Horizon film. If you've not seen
Yes.
Event Horizon,
Yes.
what? Yeah,
Hmm.
there you go. Yeah, I really because like Event Horizon is fantastic, and I love that it shares a little bit of that. That's sort of like it's like playing Event Horizon in
You
video game
get
form, which I
and
really
you
like.
get more of that with two. Two I felt was the better game. Two has
Really?
like
Okay.
deeper story. You get more of this stuff. You like you get more backstory on Isaac. You start seeing things going on an active colony. Like instead of stumbling on things
Ah,
after the fact, you're there when things happen. And there's some moments like when you're on that planet and stuff, and you have to like do certain things at the end, like the eye thing to get into a certain area. That's scary. It's
all
terrifying.
right. I gotta get these then. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that's my game. So
It's a good pick.
yeah.
Very good.
Thanks guys. Anything else we want to what are we looking forward to for horror stuff coming up right now? Outside of like I know Chronos the New Dawn,
Chronos. Silent Hill F.
Silent
Yeah.
Hill F.
For me, I think I dumped in the past 2 days over 20 something hours in Dying Light. Big.
Nice.
That's I'm huge Dying Light fan. Huge.
I've
So
heard
yeah,
I've heard nothing but good things about the Beast,
the
which I guess
Beast
is
is
a DLC. Yeah.
Mhm.
it's its own no, it's its own separate game,
Oh, okay.
but it takes it back to the like original Haran incident, like what happens with Kyle Crane at like right after the following, and what happens to Kyle Crane in between like Dying Light 2 and then so on. It really is good. If you
Yeah, I've
like
heard nothing
open
but good
world
things. Yeah.
parkour stuff, that's it. For me it's Dying Light and Chronos.
Yeah.
Tormented Souls 2 for me, and Silent Hill F definitely.
Silent Hill F is supposed to be good.
What was the first one, Jason? Sorry.
Tormented Souls
Oh,
2,
Tormented Souls. Okay.
the
Oh,
sequel.
Little Nightmares 3 I'm looking forward to. I really
Yeah,
enjoyed the
Little
first
Nightmares
two a
3 is
lot.
coming
That
out.
was
Yeah.
awesome.
I
I
really,
have to
really
play
like the
part
first
2.
two.
Oh, I just finished part 1 today, actually,
Oh,
stream,
nice.
and I really enjoyed it. So I am
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
forward to playing part 2.
It's really good. I really enjoy them. How like yeah, there was another game that I couldn't that's like it's called a wholesome horror. It's called Buddy Simulator, where you're playing with this sort of like 1980 Buddy Simulator 1984, I think is the full title. So it's like an 80s style like AI that is trying to help you like have fun with it. And so it's creating games for you. And the game it starts off as like a text-based sort of like parser game, and then it becomes like a 2D uh uh like adventure game, and then it becomes a 3D adventure game.
Oh,
And it's really well done, and like it's wholesome because like the AI is just trying to be your friend, but it's really creepy about it. And it's trying to like be your only friend, right? Like it gets really jealous and these sorts of things. So it's like it has that sort of thing going for it. It's really well done. And I really like finding these sort of indie games that like no one talks about, and then you just sort of like come across it and you're like, wow, this is really really good. Like Lamentum is like, my number 5 is one of those kinds of games where it's just like you don't even know this thing exists, and then you just happen to come across it because maybe IGN or Kotaku or
Mhm.
somebody just happens to mention it in passing while they're talking about something else. Or you happen to catch somebody on YouTube talking about it, and then you look it up and you're like, wow, this looks really interesting. Because all the big games they're always going to be talked about because they're the big games.
hmm
um but like so I really enjoy kind of just finding so like to Vincent's question, like what am I looking forward to? I'm looking forward to finding more of those games. Right, I don't know
Yeah.
what they are. I don't know where they are. I don't know how they exist, right? But I know they do exist. I just got to go and find them. So
hmm
I want to look for more of that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Well, I mean, outside of Resident Evil 9, the only one I'm going to mention is Toxic Commando, which is a John Carpenter
Oh yeah.
led game that's supposed to be
Right.
single player, multiplayer, zombie horde. But from what I'm reading, it's set in the near future. A scientific experiment to harness the energy of the Earth core goes haywire when it accidentally releases an entity called the Sludge God. So it sounds
Okay.
like a Carpenter movie. So I mean, I'm ready to play this.
Same.
But yeah,
Or
apparently
the
2026 is when it comes out.
2026 or the Michael Myers movie. I mean
Yes, that
game.
game that looks
The
good
game.
too. Yeah.
Just hope you don't have like a Dead by Daylight scenario with that and
Mm.
Or I mean, I love Friday the 13th, the Jason game we got, but it's now you can't play it anymore because they lost the
Oh, right.
license, so it's
Mhm.
discontinued. It's like how long are we gonna have the Michael Myers game? And
Oh, it's like the Godzilla game for PS4.
yep, mm-hmm,
Ah, okay.
yeah,
Gotta look out for that one then.
Oh, if you want to play Godzilla, well, actually, I don't know if it's still available because for the same reason. So, like, I don't know if you've heard of Dave the Diver.
Yes.
Uh, yeah, so Dave the Diver has some Godzilla DLC, which was pretty cool. I played through it. I really, really enjoyed it. But if you buy it, you get to keep it forever. But it might not be available for purchase anymore because for the same kind of weird licensing issues.
yeah. With
So I
the
don't know if it's still available to purchase, but if it is, you should definitely pick it up before it goes away because it's very cool. I really liked that DLC. It's very interesting,
I'll have to look at that, and make sure
That
and
was
it's
because
a
really
it.
cool DLC.
yeah,
Yeah,
like Dave the Diver, I really liked. So like, this is sort of out of the scope of of what we're talking about. Like a lot of these indie games have kind of like had partnerships with each other, so they have really interesting DLC. So like Dave the Diver also has Dredge DLC, which is really cool. It has Yakuza DLC, which is I don't know, it's weird, but it's cool. Yeah. So like,
oh,
I haven't played through the Yakuza DLC yet. I bought it fairly recently, but like yeah. So like a lot of these sort of indie games have been doing this where they kind of share their IPs with each other for like this kind of DLC stuff, and it's really really interesting and I really like that. Like this sort of like this idea of of let's help each other out, right? Like let you can use my stuff, let me use your stuff, and we can try and like build uh word of mouth for both of our games because like whoever likes your game maybe will come to me and whoever likes my game will come to you, right? Like I think that's really cool. This sort of this camaraderie, I guess, this brotherhood of these indie guys trying to help each other out in that way. So yeah, I
That
look
was funny.
I
You said Yakuza, and my mind went straight to Yakuza Dead Souls.
yeah.
I
I
have
have that. I have
that.
not played it yet, but I do have that. Yeah.
That's such a great game. It was
Yeah.
such a great game.
I have it on PS3, yeah, so I've not had a chance to play through it yet, but I enjoy the
It's,
Yakuza series
it's
for what I
very
played so
good.
far.
Well,
So
that's what like
I
I
gotta get to
bought
that.
I bought Yakuza 0 on the Switch too, even though I know it's a game key card. It has it's dubbed. The
Oh,
whole game is completely dubbed versus the one
Wow.
that released on everything else. I was like, I gotta get this. I don't care if it's a key card or not. I'm just like, I
oh,
want to experience this in English, like the original and what they're doing with like Yakuza and or Like a Dragon and Infinite Wealth.
is he? If Zero, I think is dubbed in PS4. The option is there because I that's the one that I played, and I'm pretty sure you can get a full dub on PS4.
Really? I didn't know.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because you can switch back and forth. You can switch to the original Japanese, but you can also switch to an English dub. And I mean, there's parts of the game where there's no voice over whatsoever. It's just the text, right?
Yeah, the
And of
text,
course,
yeah.
that's always going to be in English. But
Hmm.
like so I don't know unless they added. I'm pretty sure the PS4 one has a full English dub because
I
I
have to
can't
look.
play.
I have it physical as well, but I just need to I
Yeah,
haven't looked.
because I can't play like for films and television. I prefer to watch in the original language with English subs. But for games, I can't focus on subtitles and whatever I'm supposed to be doing in the game at the same
Yeah.
time. So I always have to turn on the English dub so that I can understand what's going on.
Hmm. Well, I know that
That's
they just announced the what Kwame 3, so I'm looking forward to that.
Really? Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's something
Whoa.
rumored that they were talking about. I think it's supposed to be something they're going to be. I heard something somewhere about it. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm
Because
like,
they recently released like the no, sorry, the remasters. Yeah, remasters of 345.
hmm.
Right. So like those, I mean, I have those. I haven't played through them, but like I do have them. So they're just like remastered versions. Nothing. So it would be interesting to see a Kiwami version of three. Yeah.
that's
All
my
right.
big problem with the Atelier series because you have it it's all in Japanese and
Mm,
there's no I think it's Koei Tecmo that puts them out, but there's no option to have it dubbed in English. So
mm.
you have to watch what's going on, read the subtitles, and it's like, all right, I'll stick to this for anime, but when it comes to my games, I mean, especially in RPG,
Yeah.
it's becomes very, but try to
Like
try to get through that.
if it's a cutscene, I don't mind because cutscenes, whatever, it's like watching a
Yeah,
film or a series, right? But like if I have to play the game and also read subtitles, I can't do that. I don't have the
yeah.
my brain is not that good.
Yeah, so it was leaked on a Japanese website, RPG website or RGG
Okay.
site that they're doing Kwami 3.
Nice. All right. Well, that'll be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have every Yakuza game. I think I've only played through like 0 and like half of 1. I really got to get on this because like I have them all. On the strength of how much I enjoyed 0, I ended up buying everything, but I haven't actually played most of them.
Well, you could thank Shimu for that because most of that team that left went to do Yakuza series.
Yeah.
But all right, guys, thank you for
Yeah.
being on here.
Nope, no problem.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
cool. And so people in chat or who watch this later, let me know or let us know down below in the comments, like what is your top 5 horror, whether it's mainstream or indie. I know some of us didn't do a whole lot of indie. I think I did one. Most of our stuff was mainly mainstream.
Yeah, I did one
But
too.
yeah, but yeah, we will catch you next episode. So remember, everyone, stay spooky in this month of nice horror movies, and we'll catch you next episode. Peace out.
Cheers.
Good night.